What's up, guys? Luca here. Luca Teal, yes, the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario. It's me, like Mario. What's good? I'm back for another episode of the show. Today, we will be discussing a variety of topics, including the official Game Award nominees. Okay, the official Game Award nominations: The Last of Us Part Two Remastered Redux, 5.283 edition, HD. Okay. And then we will also be discussing what is this? We will also be discussing dang, what else happened this week? Let me see. What did I put in my title? We will also be discussing the Xbox tax that plagued the community. So let me go ahead and tweet the show out. All right. What's up, Arcade? What's up, Blade X Hurricane? What's good, my boys? How y'all doing today? All right. So let me see. Pull myself up by my bootstrap. You know what I'm okay. Anyway, let me just go ahead and
What up? What up?
what up, what up, what up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay, give me one second. Okay. All right, Phil was goody. Does it sound funny? Yeah, I was thinking that too. So, and that's why. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, I switched it up. Let me know how I sound, guys. What's up, King Metrochan? Blade X? Thank you for mentioning my mic because I was like, something sounding a little suspicious, and I'm glad that someone pointed it out because you guys know how I feel about the audio. Phil, what's goody? Nola was goody. Brisky was goody. Yes, yes, my boys. How are y'all doing today? It is a wonderful Saturday night, and oh Lord, have mercy. Yes, it's a wonderful Saturday night, and there are several things that have happened this week. Singer, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing very, very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a good day, a good couple of days. Next week is the perfect time to mind my business and not go out because I'm off on Thursday and Friday. All right, thank God. I'm used to jobs just letting me off that Thursday, and then they're like, "See you on Friday, baby." You know what I'm saying? So, but how you doing, man? It's time. It's time to talk about the official 2023 nominees for the Game Awards. And honestly speaking, there's only one that really took me by surprise. The rest of them were like expected. And the only reason it took me by surprise is because it's like a remake. But I know that they did more than just like up update the update the graphics and everything like that. They did more. Uh, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. What's up, Slow?
Yo, what up, Slow?
What's up, Singer?
Alright, so let's pull up the official nominations. Well, I mean, I know them by memory. So, we have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, what is it? Super Mario World Wonder or some shit, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, some trash like that.
Super Mario World Wonder, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, RE, which one is it? 4?
Yeah.
RE4 remake. Oh my god, what was the last one? Spider-Man 2. Okay, so yes, that was all 6, right? I think it was. So
Mhm.
those are the nominations, the official nominations. And honestly speaking, I was not all that surprised by most of them. Alan Wake 2, after that score, I was like, okay, that makes sense, makes a lot of sense. Spider-Man 2, I was like, yeah, Spider-Man 2 is definitely gonna be up there too. But one upset for me, okay? The one upset for me was the RE4 remake, just because I personally, in my opinion, don't feel that remake should be up there. Even if it had been like Dead Space remake as well, I would have been like, why is that up there? It's a remake. You know what I'm saying? You guys know
Mhm.
how I feel about Dead Space. So I just
Mm-hmm.
personally feel that okay, I just personally feel that the game of the year should be for new games. You know what I'm saying? Like brand new experiences, which I understand that this is a new experience because there's new things in there, but you guys know what I mean, like completely brand new games, you know? So we got this officially up here. And yeah, man. So what do you guys think?
Well, in
Of
the
the
past,
list. Okay.
the list. I mean, I'm fine with it for the most part. When it comes to Resident Evil 4, I've always in the past have been kind of on the side of I'm 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 a no on remasters ever being nominated. I'm okay with remakes being nominated because remakes typically are, even though they're not changing everything, they are changing enough of the game that like there are levels of quality of remakes. Like some are good, some are kind of weak, that kind of thing. But I'm fine with them being nominated in down years where there's not a lot of great games coming out that year. Go ahead and kind of fill some of those gaps with a remake in some of those categories. In the year like this year, where there are so many great deserving games, like you could have put like Street Fighter 6 in there. You could have put a number of different games in that category. In that slot for the sixth shot in for at game of the year, and that's something that already kind of got its time in the sun. Resident Evil 4 like freaking 18 years ago. So that's just my thought on it. But the other nominations, I mean, I predicted all of the other 5 ones. I really. I don't care for the Nintendo games, but they never really been my bag anyway. I get that a vast majority of gaming media and the gaming community just slurps down anything Nintendo. So it is what it is. But if you're talking about like the nominations in general, this is probably the worst nominations that they've done with just all the mistakes they made. And just really embarrassing stuff like you nominated a coach that didn't even coach. Like you should be ashamed of yourself for doing that little of research on like you have one job is just to get 5 to 6 people who were actual coaches. You could have had like a 5th coach who was just like his team was 0-50. No one would have known. But you chose a coach that never even coached. Like you should be ashamed of yourself. That's just it's terrible. You got freaking Destiny in there, and
Like even before all of the
come
layoffs,
on, yo.
even before all the layoffs, Destiny should not be nominated just because
Exactly.
of community feedback from before that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like it just shows they were never paying attention. Whoever was doing this, I don't know what the process is. I don't know if they go to these 120 outlets and it's just literally a ranking of what they chose. And then they're just saying, all right, well, 1 to 5, what are the top 5? Okay, these are our nominees. Like, I don't know if that's it or they're being curated a list because I don't know. It just seems really interesting that you're telling me 120 outlets that are supposed to be focused on gaming didn't know that Bungie was doing a trash job with Destiny 2 this year. I just doubt it. It's just something's not right with that. Like either y'all incompetent or something's not right.
They're incompetent. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Singer? Because I'm gonna continue on what Slomo said, but I want to get your thoughts.
Overall, the nominations and everything,
Yeah.
it went pretty much as expected for like Game of the Year. Starfield not being there was the only exception to that rule. I was honestly surprised because I thought it might just make it in there because it's an Xbox game, just so they have representation. But I understand why it's not there because clearly these are games that have been agreed upon that are better than it, and I would agree for the most part for most of them. Like, don't get me wrong, Starfield is a great game, but is it at the caliber? Even if I was to say, is it the best RPG of the year? No, it's not. Clearly. So it is what it is. A lot of the other nominations were okay, cool. The Destiny one was hilarious. When I saw Destiny 2 in the community, I was like, wait a second, really? But
Yeah, I burst
guess
out laughing, dude. I started
Yeah.
cackling. I was like, "You're fucking joking,
there is
right?
no
Like,
It's
come
a
way.
on, be
joke.
serious."
It's literally a joke.
And I know there was controversy over Dave the Diver not being an indie game. So that was a thing. But for the most part, the nominations went how I thought they would go. So I'm not too mad about it. It is a overall good game of the year list. Although we all know Baldur's Gate is winning anyway. But
Mm.
you know, that's
So
by the by.
here's how I feel about it. I want to continue on to what like Slomo was saying. So as someone who's okay, I can't even say I'm young. I'm not that young at this point. But I do think it's a little unfortunate that at this point when it comes to the gaming space, it has been infiltrated by so many fakes. So many fakes, dude. So many frauds who don't actually care about the hobby, who don't actually
Mm-hmm.
care about the games. They're in there for one reason or two reasons or three reasons, and all of them have to do with fucking social justice. Okay, I said it. All right, I fucking said it. Okay, let me get my red pill conspiracy theory hat on. But it's just like, you know, they get these fucking publications to come through and they nominate the games that are safe. You know what I'm saying? The games
Mm-hmm.
that first of all, Alan Wake 2, I know people that absolutely love it. No people absolutely love it. But like I thought it was more of a niche title, you know? Like I from what I've seen, I've not played it, okay? Please don't get on me. But from what I've seen, I'm trying to understand what elevates it to the caliber worthy of being in game of the year. Is it the story? Is the story like absolutely phenomenal? Because I know it's not that fucking gameplay. So is it the story, guys?
Someone who actually thinks the game is deserving of the category should probably answer that, which is not me. I don't know. Look, the story's all right. I don't think a great story alone is deserving of being nominated for Game of the Year, especially if you look at the category, what it's talking about. It's talking about being technically and creatively, you know, one of the best in all categories. That ain't. I mean, honestly, that disqualifies half of the nominees because we know damn well Mario Wonder isn't that. So it's like I don't know what drugs they were on when they decided. I don't know. Look, let me not say that because that's more of my personal opinion on it.
Definitely
But
your personal opinion.
But I will say that I understand that some people feel like the things that Alan Wake does is unique and different are the reason why they feel the game is deserving, and that's fine. But yeah, it's on the gameplay side of things. It's you already got this kind of game with Resident Evil because it's doing the same thing. You know, you got a lack of ammo, weapons, and you got to worry about those kind of things. It's supposed to be creepy, even though it's not. I don't know. Look, you gotta find somebody that actually cares about it and thinks the game is good to really defend its position there. I think it's deserving in some of the other nominations like game direction and art. I think it's deserving in those areas, but a full-on nomination for game of the year. Also, let's add in the fact, right, that they also this game, when did they come out again?
What game?
Huh?
What game?
Alan Wake 2.
It was pretty recent, right?
Yeah. So it's because there has been some actual developers out there who have kind of thrown some shade in the direction of the Video Game Awards, talking about how it's odd that like your cutoff date was November 17th, but you came out with your nominations before your cutoff date, and then talked about how like their game that came out the year before came out after the nominations were already out, but that was also before the deadline. So it's like you're kind of choosing things like how do you make your choices of what's a nominee before the deadline of when the nominees are supposed to be over?
That's a good point.
That doesn't like so your deadlines is bullshit then, right? It would just seem like your deadline isn't anything at all because the games that are close to that deadline aren't going to matter because you've already prejudged those games ahead of time. Let's also kind of look at the fact that like you prejudged everything but Alan Wake 2. So as soon as it almost seemed as if as soon as Alan Wake 2 came out, the nominations came out. So if someone has a different explanation of why that's the case, that'd be great, but just seems kind of weird to me.
It's interesting. Like, I feel like that's not something I would have noticed myself because I don't pay as close attention to that stuff, but developers would notice. So that's a good point. I didn't know that they were kind of weird about the nomination cutoff date. I feel like more transparency would be nice from Jeff's
Mm-hmm.
end. And I also feel like I know Jeff lets the publications choose, but maybe he should step in for some of these. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
But I mean, he chooses. It's still his show, so he chooses when the deadline is. He chooses when the nominations come out. Like if if he always said that it's the panel of voters that make let you know who the nominees are, and that's fine. But I guess I would, if I was him, I'd be like, hold off turning in your nominations until a specific time. Like your cutoff date should be expired before people are sending in nominations. Like that would just make sense to me. If you're just like, hey, you send them in anytime, then someone could be like, all right, look, man, I already played everything I cared about this year. So I'm gonna just go ahead and turn this in on October 25th. I don't care. It's just like, that's, if he allows that, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
it would be nice to know like what his actual rules are. I guess maybe he's like detailed it maybe someplace that's not like a space because maybe like maybe it is written down. I just don't know it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I haven't seen that specifically. I've seen him talk about like the process of the actual votes, which seems to be what more people care about is the actual voting, and who got chosen for what. But I think like the entire process should be looked at as well, because clearly, I mean, just off of the mistakes they've made this year alone, like he should be looking at his entire progress. Honestly.
I agree. I think he's gotten so focused on getting the funding, and we're trying to be like, what is it, the Oscars? We're trying to be like them.
Yeah.
That he's kind of like lost sight of quality control when it comes to that stuff. And I'm speaking solely on like the fact that there were mistakes when it came to the categories. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's absolutely fucking egregious. He's been doing this for long enough where I can't give him like a pass on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly,
you should
right.
know better at this point, Like, if you wanna be taken seriously, you shouldn't be have mistakes like this should not be happening, and it'd be fine if it was, like, 1, but more than that? And then again, I do think he should have stepped in, like, regarding the whole Destiny 2 thing, because if you're gonna fricking, not have Hogwarts Legacy nominated for anything, then having Destiny 2 nominated for fucking community support is absolutely egregious. Like, that's ridiculous considering what they did. Like, come on, man. Imagine how those fucking developers from like, it's not funny, but imagine how they feel seeing that nominated for community support. Y'all just fired us. Like, you fired the community manager.
What community support? The community support is laid off.
Exactly. So I think that's particularly like egregious. I don't like that. And then hold on one second. Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, wondering like what is the process? Like what really goes into it? Because for me, a lot of the time,
Mm,
like thinking on like the games that I've played throughout the years, a lot of the time I'll have a good idea on what like my game of the year is, and then rarely I'll be surprised. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, Elden Ring was always going to be my game of the year. Obviously, not
mm-hmm.
even a question, right?
Obviously.
Obviously, but something like when I'm trying to think of a year that took me by surprise. Honestly, I can't think of any because I was such a Destiny thought for so long. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
played a bunch of games the other year though. But yeah, it's just like of course games can come out that completely take you by surprise, and I'm all for that, like how Baldur's Gate did, right? But I just think
Mm-hmm.
it's like I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate when it comes to the particular snubs that is that occurred this year, you know? I would say that one game that was definitely snubbed, in my opinion, is Hogwarts Legacy. And and I can't say it 100% fact or certainly, but I do believe that it was snubbed because of all the controversy with
Oh yeah,
J.K.
absolutely.
Rowling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It was. Yeah. See, the thing is, Hogwarts Legacy, it sold all this, it did all this, but it's still got a negative connotation to it. Because that probably should be in there in the game of the year. But
Well, one of the voters already admitted that that was the case, and one of the voters already said he knew early this year that it wasn't going to get nominated for the J.K. Rowling stuff. But I guess, hey, real quick, Phil in the chat is saying he also let an unreleased early access game get a Game of the Year nominee in 2019. What unfinished game was that?
oh, stop that! No, 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 we're not
Um,
doing this.
what the hell was that? PUBG, right? No,
Pub
was that it?
was it?
Was it?
Was that?
Was it? I don't
Was
fucking
it?
remember, dude. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I just know that there was one year where PUBG was nominated for something, and I was like, "That's absolutely
Yeah,
egregious."
yeah. Now PUBG's trash, and I've always kind of felt it's trash. But I think the nomination of PUBG also had a lot to do with PC because the game had I don't even think it was out on Xbox yet, or it was like it was announced for Xbox, but it wasn't out on it yet, or something like that. Um, yeah, I mean that game. There's some games that are like I don't even. Is PUBG even officially out of beta right
It
now?
is. It is. It
It
is.
is
It's full
okay.
game release. Yeah, it celebrated its full game release.
Yeah, so PUBG, Phil said it was PUBG. I figured it was PUBG because I do certainly
Yeah.
recall being like PUBG when I saw that was nominated. So I think that's fucking egregious in my. I thought it was egregious then. I think it's egregious now. Yeah, let me double
Mm-hmm.
check to make sure I actually thought it was egregious. PUBG. I could have been botting back then. I don't know.
No, no. I think I recall you speaking out on it being nominated back then too.
No, I definitely was talking
Um,
shit. Like, it's not even a question, bro. Like, I
yeah,
definitely was like, "What the
that
fuck?
game
What do you mean?"
sucks. That game is so bad, man.
Oh,
Um,
found it, bitch. You can't ever say anything about me. I am consistent. Look at this. I bet Xbox gamers wouldn't be defending PUBG as game of the year like this if it wasn't coming to our platform. I see y'all, bitch. November 15th, 2017. It's 2023, bitch. I am consistent. Consistent when it comes to this shit, dude. I was definitely bitching about it. Like, what the fuck do you mean PUBG? PUBG? Are you joking? That shit, I'm sorry, that shit was trash. Okay. It was trash. My brother
yep.
loves it though. He absolutely loved it. So yeah, I'm looking at my other tweets. People upset about the PS4 nominee, but I'm over here citing that game of the year category, PUBG, man. And then someone was like, "Oh, it was crap. Crap was like 20 plus million sold." I mean, that's a certified phenomenon, which is so interesting because Hogwarts Legacy was not
Right.
fucking nominated, right? And
They
then
pick and choose when phenomenons are important.
Mm-hmm.
Funny how that
exactly,
works.
exactly, fucking ridiculous, dude. I don't know what is going on. Okay, so yeah, fucking ridiculous. Just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I get about the entire process because it's just like, why not? Why? I mean, I know why, but I just think that again, it's absolutely ridiculous. And there were people who really enjoyed that game. And the fact that it wasn't nominated for anything, Game of the Year, I can understand that. I can understand it not being nominated for Game of the Year, but for it to not get anything, come on, man. Like, that
Yeah.
has to be something going on. And with how the media outlets were bitching, whining, complaining about it, hell yeah, I believe that. And then I had some guy, I guess he just was not around or like was chilling with some blinders on or something, talk about the media never said anything about Harry Potter. I'm like, bro, you're fucking kidding, right? Like,
What?
you're joking. Like, what are you
Like, what are
talking
you
about?
talking about? I hate when people try to do this revisionist history crap. And it wasn't even that long ago when this was going. This is literally earlier this year when the
Yeah.
media never said anything. There were people who were proudly, boldly saying, I'm not going to review Hogwarts Legacy. And if you play Hogwarts Legacy, if you buy it,
You're a bigot.
you're an automatic bigot. It's just like there were people in games media saying that, and you had the audacity to say no one said anything. Are you stupid? What are you talking about? Like your ears, eyes, and all of your senses just don't work or something? Like, how are you even on Twitter? Just shut up. Like, just
Yeah.
people just be saying the dumbest stuff. Like the fact that like they went as far as creating websites to track the people who were
Yeah.
streaming it so they could online bully them in their chat and force people like the girl from Girlfriend Reviews to be crying on stream, and then have the audacity after that to act like, no, it's not nominated on its own merits. Eat a dick. Like, respectfully, eat a dick. You're not fooling anybody with that foolishness.
Yeah. I just think it's like, to say completely without a doubt that that had nothing to do with it, I just think that's really disingenuous and just it's
Yeah.
silly. Like, I think it's really silly. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
definitely think that the Hogwarts Legacy got snubbed hardcore, and that's unfortunate. But you know what? Money fucking talks. So even if they're not being recognized by the gaming industry they exist in, which in my opinion, this industry is a fucking joke. It's just a
It
fucking
is.
joke, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's important to the
They got no
developers. I get
respect as
that.
far as I'm concerned.
But
They
yeah,
get no
it's a
respect.
fucking joke. They still made shit ton of money. There's gonna be a Hogwarts Legacy 2, okay? So
Hey, hold on. Okay, look, see, we got one of these people here right now. He says it's not nominated by its own merits. The game was kind of mid in a year of back-to-back bangers. Okay, so if the game was actually mid, why is it the highest selling game that's come out this year? Because mid games really don't sell like that, and it's not. And don't say, oh well, Madden and all that sells, because those games at one point weren't mid. And people who buy those games buy them for nostalgia and the fact that they are so engrossed in the gameplay loop and the game design that they can't break out of it. So that doesn't even apply to Hogwarts Legacy, a one encompassing game, not an annual release. So exactly how was a game mid? And everyone who says that can't explain why it's mid. They all say, well, the game's mid. Or why is it mid? Just because it sucks. It's not that good. Tell me about it. Tell me about the game. Tell me about what about the game is mid. They don't know because they didn't play it.
well, maybe he
The
did play it.
visuals
Maybe he
aren't mid.
has.
Maybe he did.
Um,
Maybe because it's based off one of the most successful movie franchises of all time. That's not the question I'm asking you. You're asking me a question. You haven't answered my question. I'm not saying the game is great because it's based off of a successful movie franchise that I don't care about. I don't care about the Harry Potter IP. The books were mid because J.K. Rowling is a mid writer. I'm talking about the actual game. And if you can't tell me why the game is mid, when I can go break down numerous games that got nominations and why they weren't that great in certain categories, then, kick rocks, bro. You know what you're talking about. Like, this ain't the podcast for that. Go to some other podcast where you can just say whatever and no one ever challenge it. You just ask me why it sold well.
Harry Potter,
Not
even though it's still,
yeah. Go ahead.
even though it's still, like, it still shows up like in merchandise. It's not as prevalent as it once was, mostly just because
Yeah,
of the films, the recent films like
yeah,
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them too. I think
yeah.
that's the last Harry Potter
It's not even the first
film
Harry
that came
Potter
out,
game.
which
It's not even
did
the first
not,
Harry Potter game.
which not,
Like
I
so,
don't
so
think that
did,
did
did
very
all that
well.
did all the Harry Potter games sell nearly 20 million copies?
So yeah, and I have a hard like I understand that the anti SJW crowd, they do have some deep pockets, but I can't imagine that it would be enough to sell that many copies of the game. Though I do think that definitely played a role because I had someone who bought multiple copies give me a copy. Shout out to them, okay? Despite the SJW crowd, appreciate y'all uh giving me things, right? So
Mm.
I'm yeah, I mean it was and then also Portkey Games is not really well established. The last game they did was like what Chicken Little or something.
They've never made a game on this scale before.
Yeah.
He's like the completion rate. What is the completion rate? I find it funny when people will determine the overall quality of a game based on completion rate. This is information you're telling me that does not tell me you actually played the game. Because you could look up the completion rate right now through Google. That doesn't
Yep, yep.
tell me what about the actual game is mid. Is it the combat? Is it the story? Is it the characters? Is it the visuals? Is it the open world? Or the side missions not varied enough for you? What is it about the game that makes it mid?
Okay, so I want to say this, the Juice Man. I want to ask you this mostly. I already I said that I do believe that it being not being nominated for Game of the Year. That makes sense considering the other games that came out this year. But I'm talking about the fact that it wasn't nominated for anything.
Anything.
Anything at all, you know?
Yeah.
So even a game that's considered mid would be nominated for something if enough especially enough people bought it and played it. So the fact that and also Games Media acknowledged that they weren't gonna get the game because of J.K. Rowling's, views on the trans community. Uh, Games Media acknowledged that they weren't gonna play it. Games Media I mean, I remember, a media outlet, like, apologizing before the review. "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't agree with these views with the game." You know? Had fucking Hassan backtracking, complaining about how he couldn't play the game because his community was on his ass about it. Girlfriend Reviews and her boyfriend fucking sobbing. Well, the chick from Girlfriend Reviews fucking sobbing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
On stream, there was like this one V streamer, crying as well as she got jumped. It's not funny, but I'm just,
Yeah.
I read
Yo,
the website you were talking about as well.
what's the completion rate for Alan Wake 2?
I'm not sure. I guess it depends on the
This
platform.
is why his criteria doesn't make any sense, and it absolutely has nothing to do with the freaking topic of Game of the Year or any of the other nominations, as you said, because Alan Wake 2 just came out like late October, so you know the completion rate is low. So that's clearly not a criteria, nor was that a criteria in the freaking description of the award. So people out here creating their own criteria and saying, "Oh, well, it can't be nominated based upon a very arbitrary criteria that I made and my own subjective opinion." And I'm gonna tell you, take your own subjective opinion and make your own damn award show with it, because it ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the categories again. Like I could imagine it being nominated. Let's look at some of the categories. Oh, I really don't know if I like how this website is set up. This is a little annoying. Hold on. Um, Probably not for narrative. Mm, it could have maybe gotten something for art direction. There was some nice stuff there. But then I'm looking at the categories. Perhaps not. Let me just go ahead and exit out of that. Let's look at these categories actually. A shout out to I don't like my girlfriend because she wasn't nominated. That's so real of you. So real. Personally, I think the game, given the game was released at the beginning of the year, and given that it wasn't that standout of a game, it explains why it was forgotten. Um, Again, I just don't agree with you. Mostly because it's like Elden Ring was released early in the year. last year? When is that when that game came out? Bitch, I do not fucking remember. Like I beat the game multiple times, got the platinum, don't remember.
Elden Ring. You said when did it come out?
Yeah.
Like February, I think. It was either February or March of last year.
Okay, yeah, 20. Yeah, so I don't agree with the concept of it being released in the beginning of the year. I don't think that adds up just because of Elden Ring. You saying that it could have been forgotten because it didn't stand out. I mean, I can agree with that.
How did it not stand out? It's been the most sold game. Man, this doesn't make any sense. It didn't stand out. Most sold game this year. All year long. It came out in February, and all these big heavy hitters have come out that people thought, like, no one thought that anything was going to outsell Zelda or Call of Duty or anything like that, and it outsold all of them without even being on the Switch, which just came out on the Switch last week, so it's going to get a boost in sales off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, just like it's you're right, Arcade. I didn't need to call out, frankly, delusional stupidity. It is what it is. Respectfully, sir. Respectfully. But like nothing you said makes any sense. When you're saying it's not even about politics, when we had an actual voter said it was about politics. Who are we supposed to believe? You or someone who actually voted? I'm sorry. Continue, Luca. Continue.
No, honestly, the Juice Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's because, okay, I really this is my opinion, right? It's my theory. We all know that Activision Blizzard is a titan, and I think that Hogwarts Legacy is the right IP at the right time with the right developer, in the sense that it could easily, in theory, for these games media sites, it could be easily boycotted because Portkey Games was not well known or well established. It's something that was manageable of a quote unquote boycott, in their opinion. They also didn't think the game was going to review well. They believed that other outlets would be of the same mind of them as them, right? So I really think that in comparison to like Activision Blizzard games, that was the one game where they thought, because the developers aren't as established, that's something that they could probably quote unquote succeed when it came to like a boycott. And in my opinion, I think a lot of things that happen in the gaming space are about posturing. It's about clout. And it's about trying to make a name for yourself and saying a lot of bullshit in order to get attention, saying the quote unquote right thing in order to stand out. And it's which is really interesting considering how, like, behind the scenes, like, the gaming space is quite disgusting when it comes to a lot of the allegations, the harassment, the racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia. Like, behind the scenes, underneath the surface, it's very, very much a disgusting space to exist in. But it's all about posturing, and I think a lot of this stuff that came out from these people is posturing. Now, that being said, we can also talk about the review scores because one of the guy I was talking to mentioned like, "Oh, it reviewed pretty well." I'm just like, "Yeah, that's true." But there were several outlets that either refused to play the game because of J.K. Rowling. They admitted that they refused to play the game because of J.K. Rowling, and there were outlets who I can't remember what this bitch's name was, but there was an outlet where it was I think it was The Gamer, maybe? It was very clear that they did not play the game just based on reading the review because they spent the entire
Yeah.
review talking about J.K. Rowling and my childhood growing up as some I'm like, "Yo, what does this have to do with the game? Absolutely nothing." And then there were outlets who did review the game, but again, they expressed remorse right before reviewing it, right? So, I think it's more about visibility and what they believe that they would be able to manage based on who Portkey's game is in comparison to like Activision Blizzard King or even Ubisoft, right? But that's like, I mean, that's just my opinion on it as to why I think. I mean, also the concept. Okay, J.K. Rowling is a public figure, and she is very vocal about her views, and she's gotten into a lot of back and forth with people. And then you also have to think about the prevalence and the cultural significance of the concept of transphobia. I say concept transphobia exists, obviously, right? But the concept of transphobia when speaking on like Dave Chappelle did his comedy thing, right? And he got a backlash. Like he received backlash from like the media and like certain people who like did not watch it and stuff, just heard about the transphobia or saw a couple clips. But then, he's still wildly successful as Dave Chappelle. You can't take down Dave Chappelle, right? Like at this point, right? So
Mhm.
like the transphobia, like the topic of transphobia is still heavily discussed and focused on, maybe not so much right now given everything else that's happening in the world, but like around like just the last couple years, transphobia has taken more of a center stage when it comes to the conversation, and because these conversations, they come in waves, right? So it's like there was people speaking up and out in rage about sexism. So there was the quote unquote gamersgate, the Me Too movement, sexual harassment, sexual exploitation, that kind of thing. That was like the highlight, that was the focus there, right? Then we started getting people like Anita Sarkeesian coming in, offering her this fucking trash ass perspective, getting Neil Cuckman to be like, you know what, perhaps we should make these characters fucking hideous. I don't know. But anyway, moving on from that.
Not just Neil,
Not just
multiple
Neil, multiple
studios. Yeah.
studios. They started focusing. Okay, great. We have to do the woman thing. And then I don't know. I'm not 100% if there was too much of a. I can't really think of any gay prominent gay characters in gaming in the last couple years. So I don't know if anything came from.
Ellie.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, there it is, Ellie. Okay, my lesbian queen, Ellie. Shout out to her. Okay, so there you go. There's another example there. That kiss with her and Dinah was center stage at what was it at? Was it a PlayStation Experience?
It was like the last PlayStation showcase at E3.
Yeah.
That
So
was the first time they showed it when they did the whole. Remember how they kept like they had some weird like artsy fartsy idea to have like everyone move to like a different room for to showcase a different game, and it didn't kind of like the execution of it didn't really work.
okay. I feel like you are not comprehending what I'm saying. Blackballed by the industry is not the same as it being blackballed by gamers. Like let's turn this on. Turn the brain on. It's like, come on, man.
His comprehension level is not really
Like
at a
I'm not
place
trying to
where
be
he
rude.
could.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just saying like there were 120 publications. The game sold like 20 million. There's like clearly there is a financial difference there. There's a difference in numbers there. There's just that's the difference. And again, you're saying it's a straw man's argument. Media outlets admitted that this is what they did. I don't understand why you don't seem to get that. Media outlets admitted this, they said, yes, fuck this game because of J.K. Rowling.
I'm at the point where he's a troll because we are pointing out actual facts and he's ignoring these facts to move the goalposts and create more straw man bullshit. And it's just at this point, people who would be at this point still saying it wasn't really a boycott because the people who boycotted failed. You failed in school if you think that's like sound logic. If you feel that the game wasn't political when people are actually saying it's political, I'm telling you, I'm a voter, and I'm telling you because I talked to all the other voters, it was political, and you're still like, no, it wasn't political. It's because it's mid. Your brain cells are mid. Okay, respectfully, you probably sniff gas fumes as a kid or something because the synapses aren't firing, or you're just trolling. And I'm just going to lean on the side of you're just trolling because there ain't no way in the world you're going to say it's not political when they actually, if we're going to be honest here are people who openly said, I am not voting for this game for this game. I am not doing a review for this game. But then clearly it's all about being performative because that community
LGBT.
actually, thank you, actually targeted, big time, targeted specifically this game. Yet these same people will say, yeah, I'm on their side. I'm an ally. But they won't be an ally when Saudi Arabia backed Savvy Group, which is a gaming organization ran by the Saudi Arabian government that is using the video game industry to make money, owns 8% of Nintendo. And look at what's represented very prominently in the video game awards. Nintendo, up and down. So this is why people come in here with disingenuous arguments and try to pretend like the actual facts that everyone knows aren't real. Because addressing it is going to also be addressing the game's media are hypocrites. Not all of them, but a significant portion of them are hypocrites.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I was very clear in my explanation. I think he's just trying to gaslight or something. The whole revisionist history, like people are saying, Brian is saying in chat. All right, we can just agree to disagree. What is his name? Hold on. We can just agree to disagree. The Juice Man, you have your opinion, you have your perspective, I have mine. So we just move on from that. Anyway, moving on from that. Let's see here. So some of these categories, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. I definitely don't give a fuck about this esports shit, but I understand why it's there. Okay, so let's
I
look at
just
the
care
most.
about the coach. That's all I care about. Go ahead.
What's category just because I follow it? So to me, I care, but
Yeah.
obviously,
So
a lot
the
of
Juiceman
people
said,
don't.
I was not aware that reviewers boycotted the game. Well, I feel like you not being aware does answer why you're why you have the perspective that you do, because you weren't aware of that. But yes, reviewers did boycott the game. So if you want to, I mean, you can look into it. There's a lot of shit that came out earlier in the year. I did a bunch of videos on it. If you want to just go watch some of my older videos, and there were videos being done in the past about it as well from other bigger content creators. So if you just want to check that out. But yeah, there were definitely reviewers who came out. Like Stephanie Sterling was definitely like, I fucking no, I'm not reviewing that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not reviewing that shit. Fuck J.K. Rowling. And Stephanie Sterling is a major reviewer.
Yeah, and Sterling addressed the fact that, like, so because people were going to Sterling and saying, well, how do you feel about the fact that the actual developer Porky Games said they don't agree with JK, and because of JK's comments, they then decided to create a trans character, have a whole side arc for that trans character, and a whole bunch of other stuff in the game that was more inclusive. And Sterling's feelings on it was, I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much. Which Stephanie is like a radical, so that makes sense. All right,
but a radical that also has a vote in, I don't know, the video game awards, but Sterling's reviews affect Metacritic.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Because she didn't like Alan Wake 2 either. I remember Jordan being like, "What the fuck, dude?"
What was her score for Alan Wake 2? It couldn't have been as bad as the score was for Starfield.
Let me look. Stephanie Sterling Allen.
Because with Starfield, apparently
Alan Awake.
apparently Stephanie Sterling had an issue with something of someone internally at Bethesda Game Studios who Sterling felt was transphobic.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, and even in the review said, well, Sterling did bring up like issues with the game, but they weren't like to justify a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, she gave Alan Wake 2 a 4, which
and that was clearly and said so because felt like Bethesda Game Studios are a transphobic studio. So
goddamn, she gave Starfield a 4. Okay, yeah, so she gave Alan Wake 2 a 4 and Starfield a 4. So it was the same amount of low. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We all have our different opinions on it, and that's her perspective. That's what she wants to she gave Dead Space remake a 5. Hey, yo, fuck her, man. No, I'm just kidding. A joke. It's her opinion. It's all good.
I do not think that I think Metacritic should rescind Sterling's inclusion into Metacritic, because at this point Sterling has stopped being a credible reviewer that actually reviews a game for the merits of the game and has started making everything personal.
That's true.
It has nothing to do with the game. It's all about me and how I feel. And when you actually are in a review bringing up, like taking subtle, like passive aggressive shots at people who work at a developer, but that what's that got to do with the game? Like if even if the person is transphobic, is he the best transphobic environment artist out there? Like, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? It has nothing to do with what we're actually talking about. Is the game good or not? That's all I need from you. I don't need to listen to you go on and on, drown on your soapbox about how you feel about the people in the industry. We know you hate everybody. But is the game good or not? is why I'm here. If you can't give me that,
I agree.
I
started finding. I used to be a big fan of the Jinquisition, but I'm just not interested anymore. It's just boring, in my opinion. It's just boring. It's just boring, in my opinion. I just don't think much of the show at this point. I used to listen to the podcast as well with Laura, Gav, and back when back pre-transition Stephanie, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just think it's unfortunate. It is what it is. You know, you guys say radical. I say radical. You guys say loser. I'm like, what's the difference? It's the same thing. It's the same. If you're a radical in any regard, you're a loser, in my opinion.
I'm about to say, okay, so Dorian Gray just said something, probably the truest thing Dorian Gray has ever said. I love how he said, I love you could be racist as fuck and make games nobody cares, but Lord, don't be transphobic. Because that's so true. Because we know there's tons of racists in the video game industry. And if someone is transphobic and they work at a studio, they better get that person gets exposed. You better get that person up out of here now. Like, they need to be triple fired.
Examples of people being fired for being transphobic in the gaming industry?
There was actually a guy that right after the Hogwarts, J.K. Rowling thing happened, there was a guy that was working. He used to be a YouTuber, and he was working for Portkey Games. And people found his now then defunct YouTube account because he stopped doing the YouTube thing once he got the job. And they was like, oh, you got this guy. They had some comments he made on his YouTube channel. You got this guy working on the game. They got him up out of there expeditiously. Now, when I say the racist stuff,
it wasn't just for like the trans stuff though. It was several things for his videos. Let's see here. He defended Pixar co-founder John Lasseter, who left his job at Disney after allegations of sexual misconduct. And co-founder Nolan Bushnell, who reportedly fostered a toxic environment for women. He's vocalized support for Gamergate. Several of the victims were bullied out of the industry entirely, blah, 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 painful times, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't so it was a bunch of stuff.
That's fine. The overall point is that, like, this game in general, it got canceled, quote unquote, and boycotted for a very loose association to J.K. Rowling and things that she said. Meanwhile, we know there are racists in the video game industry, and we hear about people who leave or are forced to leave developers because of the environment, of the racist environment, and yet still those games don't get canceled. We don't see games being up in arms about racism going on within the video game, like the actual developer. So there's a huge difference in the reaction.
Not true. That's not true though.
It's true. They don't cancel. Name one game they got canceled because people who worked at the game were racist.
I'm just saying that, like, when it comes to people being fired for being racist or sexist, that's happened in the games media before. I think that the trans issue is more prominent right now and it's focused on right now because of everything that's been happening with Dave Chappelle and everything. But it's just the focus and the highlight now. It's not like people have never been fired for being racist before in the gaming industry.
People aren't being fired for being racist right now. Bungie they fired their head of diversity for doing her job, which was calling out racists. They
Okay,
didn't
people are also
fire the
not getting
racists.
fired for being transphobic, sexist, or homophobic either at this point, like, when it comes to the industry, because that's, like, every single department has people like that.
Well, okay, we're miss.
I just don't like
I
the
think we're miss.
I just don't like this concept of, well, racism never gets called out and nothing ever happens when it comes to racism and all that stuff. I don't like that concept because, again, I just think it exists in periods of times and waves and what to focus on. When all that BLM stuff was happening, people had to be very careful about what they were saying. A lot of people had to come out and say Black Lives Matter or they'd get canceled by their fans. So I just think that it depends on what the hot topic is culturally at the time that affects whether or not things get highlighted. And in my opinion, I just think the transphobic topic is the highlight right now, just like BLM was back in what, 2020. But I mean, that's my perspective. You have yours. That's just my opinion. I don't want it to be
Okay.
like an argument or anything. That's just my perspective.
All right, and I disagree because even with the BLM thing, there was the whole AL, all lives matter immediately afterwards that, people championed and acted like,
Just like how there is a anti-SJW. Oh, let's talk about the whole pronouns, fuck pronouns group right now. There's that group that's doing that when it comes to the trans people. It's like the same thing. There's always going to be a group that's going to be what is the word? Antithetical to what the hot topic is.
there, I think I agree with that. Where I think we disagree is that when it comes to on a race issue, there is no progress made
There's no progress
towards.
anywhere, dude.
Well, there's progress for the LGBTQ community. They've made progress,
How so?
but there have been laws although there have been laws to kind of undo some of those things, but there have been laws that have been put into place to protect them. There have been ways where and we see massive movements socially when someone does something that isn't does something that is transphobic or something to hurt transphobic people.
Like all the
Citizens,
riots and the looting against when a black kid or a black person gets killed by an officer? Like those movements too?
though, the riots don't change laws.
What laws are against black people right now? No, I mean, like, I'm genuinely curious, like no,
Seriously,
no, seriously, like, what laws directly state, like, "Oh, black people can't drink here, you can't eat here," that kind of thing, like, can't
they
exist,
don't.
like, can't get married, like, I'm asking genuinely, like, are there laws
they're-
right now that exist like
They
that?
they don't have those laws explicitly right now anymore, but they do things in a way, and they create laws in a way that allows that to still continue.
The Juiceman said, "Didn't a state literally just make it illegal for same-sex couples to hold hands in public for this last 2 weeks?" Yes, they did. There are black trans people, Dorian Gray, you know? Um, first person the woman who threw the first stone was a trans woman, a black trans woman at Stonewall, so just an interesting conversation, like, I don't know. Didn't a little kid just get time for washing windows? And I don't did he? Let's look it up. Do you know the name of the kid? Washing windows.
Yeah, Brian. Stop and frisk is a great example of that. Stop and frisk was a law that was created explicitly to target black people, but it didn't say it in the law. But how police then used the law was, we're going to target black people. This gives us the right to stop you for no reason, even though you weren't committing any crime. and question you if you don't have, or you can't answer the questions, the things that we want at this time. We will arrest you for no reason, and we're basically hoping that you do something or get upset with us basically harassing you in a way where we then could then say you resisted arrest in order to then charge you with something real. Funny how Mr. Juice Man wants to have my mic taken away.
Excuse you? What?
That's what he said. He
Why?
said, take his mic away respectfully. I guess he's trying to, do the respectfully thing, but he's a.
I mean,
he's a
you were
moron,
saying that too.
Yeah, I was saying that too. That's why he said it, but he can't come up with his own slide disc, so he tried to use one of mine.
Yeah, I just think that
Respectfully, do better. Go ahead.
there's a lot of just a lot of violence against minorities in general, and then especially when it comes like yeah, there's just a lot of violence against minorities, dude. It's my quote unquote. You guys know the concept of minorities. You know what I'm saying? It's just yeah. But you know what I want? I'd like to see more pretty girls kissing. Where's that at? Come on, give that to me then. Okay, Gen V. Can't watch it.
You might want to focus on
okay?
you might want to focus on Eastern games if you want that, because the Western games ain't gonna give you that, not even a little bit.
Shout out to Meat Puppet re-upping. I know that's fucking right, my boy. Anyway, but yeah, very interesting conversation. I got I'm a black woman myself. I'm something of a black woman myself. You know what I'm saying? And I got friends in the Alphabet Gang. And it's all very interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's all very interesting. Gen V is pretty mid. Let me tell you something. I almost turned that shit off as soon as I saw that spoilers for Gen V. But I want to spoil y'all because this is bullshit. This chick. Okay, spoilers for Gen V. Okay.
You just said go ahead.
I just want to give people the chance. This chick who has the ability to shrink she shrunk down so she could sit on some guy's dick and like kick his balls with her feet. I almost turned this fucking show off. All right. I was like, I'm sick of this shit. Okay. I'm sick of this shit. You got to pull me in first before you start doing this bullshit. All right. Like with the boys, I was sat. I was seated. I read the comics, garbage as they are, because they are garbage, right? So
they're not good. They're not very good. Yeah. Sorry.
I read the comic.
Sorry, Gareth Enos. Garrett? What is his first? Yeah, there you go.
Garfield.
I butchered his name 6 times.
This shit is fucking trash, dude.
Yeah, your comic sucks, bro.
It's there for shock value, but The Boys the TV show is actually very well written, with season 3 being the fucking best. That shit was a 10 out of 10, dude. That shit was fire. Every single episode was amazing. But anyway, what I'm saying is Gen V, I almost turned that shit off because of that. Okay. And I don't even know if I'm gonna go back, like I just man. But
you might want to just read a summary of what the seasons, because they said it's going to tie into it. Definitely for everyone who's watched it and watched the finale, there are events, there are things that happen that will tie into the next season of The Boys. Some things that maybe I don't know how they decide to go like further with it, but could end up being very important. And if you don't you aren't up on it, you may be kind of wondering like, where did this come from?
No, I
like,
dude,
yeah.
I'll force myself to watch it, okay? But if I see something crazy again, I'm turning it off, all right? But shout out to Felix. Felix, like, bro, can get the dudes cuter too. We've had ugly dudes in games for decades now. See, we gotta go to the East, baby. Okay, you gotta go to the East.
Yeah. Look, if you go play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that's about to come out. People like the East. The East got it. They don't be in their own little.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, you're right. It's just a different culture, different values.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of, and we've talked about this before, but a lot of the developers now on the Western side, they're not making games for us. It's like they're making games for them. I'm making the game that I want to play, but it's just like, So what? Like, if 5 million people would buy your game if you made different choices, wouldn't you want to do that? Like, isn't the purpose that you're spending millions upon millions of dollars and spending all these years developing this game so that other people would play it and enjoy it? Did you really do all this just for you? I mean, I think that's just kind of.
I think it's more so they're doing it for pats on the back. They pat each other on the back, dude. It's like a they suck each other off industry. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to.
True.
This is so riveting and vivid and enthralling and beautiful. Wow, what a story! And it's just like 2 girls kissing. But you know what? Make them attractive at least. You know what I'm saying? And then Felix in chat, yeah, make the dudes hotter too. Like, what's up? I mean, like, okay, again, my boyfriend Dante from Devil May Cry, you know, my BF. I think Geralt's pretty hot, you know, but it's just me, you know, like that's the last. What other guys are looking good in games? I don't even know. Okay, we can just move on from this. Yeah, Hollywood
Yeah.
runs on circle jerking. Facts, dude. Their political agendas are more important. I agree. So, sexy men sell games. RE4 is living proof. You spitting right now. Exactly, Felix. Don't make the chicks uglier. Make the dudes hotter. That's real. You like Nero more? I'm talking about looks, man. I mean, they look very similar. I'm talking about looks and I like Dante's personality more than Nero's, in my opinion. Me and my brother played those games. I watched him play it like back in the day. But anyway, moving on from fucking that. Yeah, so the rest of these categories, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep it. No, that's not true. I do care. So most anticipated games are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is slow-mos. Hades 2, slow-mo's also gonna play that. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. I think Singer would have been excited. No, Singer, you're still excited for that, right?
Of course I am. I am so hyped for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll just listen
Now,
to
will Young Ye be on that one too?
Even if he is, I play it in Japanese, so I don't care.
Oh, okay. Because I wonder if they'll use him for like going. Yeah, I don't know how they do that after the backlash and say it's because he's good. I mean, because clearly they knew he wasn't good when he was doing his performance already. But you get the reaction, and they still go with it. That kind of solidifies to me that they did it for the controversy and the drama, and the fact that he was a big YouTuber, and there'd be like a hardcore contingent that would bring attention to the game solely because of his poor performance and who he is. If they continue on with him in the next game, yeah, you just don't care.
I mean, I don't think they care, honestly speaking. At all. At fucking all, dude. Okay, so let's see here. I'm looking forward to that. That Star Wars Outlaws looks kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
It does look fun.
Yeah.
But it's still Ubisoft. So
it's massive entertainment is what it is. Ubisoft is 30 developers. You can't say 30 developers all make games the same exact way. It's just not. There's various levels of quality of studios there.
Yeah, but what kind of quality we getting? We getting typical Ubisoft? We getting Mirage quality? We getting Far Cry quality? Like what we getting?
Okay, so no, I definitely hear what you're saying, Singer. I have a question though. That's not related to this because I'm looking at this list. Was there always a best adaptation category?
No, that's new.
No,
that's new.
The Last of Us TV show is gonna fucking win. Wait, actually,
no, it's not.
Wait, no, it's not.
Super Mario Bros. Movie.
That's gonna win.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Yeah, it's the Mario movie.
It was so good. It was so good. I really liked it. I saw it with my nephew. I still need to watch Twisted Metal, so I'm gonna do that.
It's okay. I didn't really care for it, but I saw a lot of people enjoyed it. It's very campy, but if you kind of just go into it knowing that it's campy and goofy, then you'll probably enjoy it. Yeah. In regards to Star Wars Outlaws, that's being developed by Massive Entertainment, who did the Division games, and Ubisoft is now basically the game engine they created is now going to start being used for a lot more games because the Snowdrop engine is just that damn good. and they're also the same ones doing the Avatar game as well as the Star Wars game. Ubisoft's relying on them because they kind of deliver on what the actual goal in the game design is. So I think Outlaws is going to be good. Like the way it looks.
It looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote. Let's just choose the categories I care about. I'm keeping it as that.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, best multiplayer. So what's been voted, nominated? That is Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Street Fighter 6 takes that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6. That's easy win.
Let's see here. I think it's going to be Street Fighter 6 as well, to be honest. So we have that one. Okay, let's do. Okay, I don't care about this. I don't care about this. Is there even a point in me bringing this up? It's gonna be best RPG. Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna fucking win that. So
of course, yeah, that's
so there's no point. But shout out to the games that were nominated: Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. I do want to play Sea of Stars. I do want to play Sea of Stars. I want to check that out. Let's get.
It's good. It's very good.
All right, let me pull up this other list. Hold on, my boys. Okay, let's see your nominees. Okay, view all categories. All right, let's look. Best action adventure game. I'll pull that up.
Alan Wake 2 should not be there.
So
it's freaking ridiculous that it's nominated in this category. Are you kidding me right now?
I think
Stupid how this is. I'm about to get mad.
Maybe
sitting there.
Maybe Resident Evil 4? Or
I think Spider-Man 2 won't win that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, I think it's Spider-Man.
I think Spider-Man 2 will win it.
Oh, wait a second. Zelda's there. Maybe Zelda. Yeah, it would probably be Zelda. I'm thinking Zelda.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's one of those two.
Good point, Brian.
Zelda.
Okay. Best action game, we have Dead Island 2, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2.
I'm voting Remnant 2. I'm voting Remnant 2. I know it's not going to win. I do not care.
I mean, I love Remnant 2. We were playing it last night with Nautical. It was a great time. We finished the DLC on my end. So.
Oh man, that boss. That was Remnant is so cool. We get this boss with this ugly face and this huge. He's sitting on this huge throne, and what I really love about Remnant is that like we'll be sitting here and you'll be having some NPC or some boss like talking mad smack to you and like, why aren't you bowing to me and giving me like my just deference and all this kind of stuff, and we'll be like, yo man, eat a dick. I ain't doing all that. And literally you have the choice of your character saying like something similar to that. Be like, I'm not bowing to you.
Like, bro, shut up.
Trash. Like, shut up. He's like, you know what? Stop all this talking. Let's just get to the fight. Yes. All three of us was like, exactly. Let's kill this fool. I just like Remnant's awesome.
Right. So I think Hi-Fi Rush is going to win this.
Yeah, I think Hi-Fi Rush was my pick.
Really? Because for best action?
Yeah. Mainly because the whole game is based around action, right? Like, Armored Core is an outside shot. Dead Island 2, no way. Ghost Runner 2, don't think so. I just think it's a Hi-Fi Rush category. Oh, Armored Core 6, because they need to give it something, maybe.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to think.
Yeah,
I think Armored Core 6 will win. I think Hi-Fi Rush will win one or two categories, but not this one. I think it might win Best Art Direction.
Yeah.
Or best sound design, because the music is like you have to attack on the beat to the music. So I think like the sound design is very important to like the entire foundation of the game. So if it won best sound design, that would make a lot of sense to me. But best action?
No, that's fair.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So best debut indie game. Was this the one that had a game that wasn't an indie, or was that something
No,
else?
it's the other one.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
got Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Vinba, Viewfinder. I didn't play any of these, but my friend loves Dredge. Like they fucking love that shit, dude. So I don't know, but I didn't play any of these. I've not even heard of any of these, so I don't know if any of the other than Dredge, and that's just because a friend
I've
played
heard
it.
of Cocoon, and I know a lot of people have spoken very highly of Cocoon. So I think Cocoon will win it. But I haven't played any of these either. For once, I haven't played any of the best indies in this category. Usually, I've played like one or two, but
Sweet,
it's
all right.
been too many bangers this year for me to.
Thing is,
play.
I could see Cocoon winning it because a lot of people played it. I got it downloaded. I need to play it. Shout out to Game Pass.
Isn't
Nice.
isn't the creator of this also the same people who did Inside, or
It
some of
is.
them?
Oh, it's Limbo,
Yeah.
I think.
Limbo. Okay.
Either way, like it is a really fun, really short puzzle game. I could just see it winning because it has that. None of these I have no idea. So
All right.
Cocoon's the only game I know.
Okay, then we have best independent game.
This is the one. So Dave the
Sea of
Diver
Stars.
is the controversy. I do believe Sea of Stars, either Sea of Stars or Cocoon will win this, but Dave the Diver. So either a director there for Mint Rocket spoke out and said that they shouldn't be in this category because they're owned by Nexon, and Nexon is a huge South Korean publisher and developer. Nexon is the same company that's developing the first Descendant, which is like Unreal Engine 5, huge, humongous looter shooter that's coming out next year. Like they make a lot of games, and I don't know this guy's full statement on it, but I'm assuming the reason why he feels like because they're owned by Nexon, they shouldn't be in this category because this is really kind of like it says outside the traditional publisher system. And I don't really, even though Cocoon is developed by Annapurna and Viewfinder is developed by Thunderful Publishing, those publishing houses have had or on a different level when it comes to the amount of budgets they can provide a studio than what Nexon can do, because Nexon's massive. So that's
Well,
what I'm
shout out to
assuming
him
why
for
he
having
thinks
some
that.
integrity.
Right, unlike some of the people who voted.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. Viewfinder, Sea of Stars, Dredge, Dave the Diver, Cocoons. I think Sea of Stars will win this.
I think it's either Sea of Stars
Yeah,
or Cocoon will
it's
win
Sea
it.
of Stars. I think because Cocoon will win best debut, Sea of Stars will win this.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So the joke category goes to best
Right.
movie
Oh,
support.
yeah, this is hilarious. How
Play the clown music.
I think Cyberpunk should win just because those developers worked really hard. Worked very hard. Wait, actually, I had a conversation with someone, right?
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm reading like the definition. Okay, I think Cyberpunk should take it. What do you guys think?
I think everyone up there is deserving, but Bungie
Yeah.
and Destiny too. So if any of the other ones win it, it would make sense. But I'm hoping Bungie wins so that they can be extra embarrassed for what they did. Now, there are other people who are like, please vote for Bungie. And I'm just like, no. When I say I hope they get embarrassed, I mean the VGAs get embarrassed because they allowed that to happen. Not Bungie. Bungie's got no shame. They will probably take the win and be like, see, we were justified in, laying off the entire community team and, all of our security teams. So now there's more hackers in the game and all kinds of other stuff. But I just want some maximum embarrassment for like mistakes like this. So like the esports coach, I want the esports coach to win too, even though he didn't coach at all in 2023. I want them to be embarrassed. So Go Destiny.
Yeah. So
It's either four. I think it's either going to be 14 because they always win it. They always win this one. So.
All right, sweet. Okay, best ongoing. Okay, outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves a player experience over time. Yeah, I don't know why Cyberpunk is in this category.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it shouldn't be in this category. It's not a multiplayer game. That's what I'm assuming. The rest of these are multiplayer games, right? So yeah, I don't
They
know.
are, but it's not really the fact that they're multiplayer. They're live service games,
Mm,
and that consistently deliver content on an ongoing basis. And that's not Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk just delivered an expansion 3 years after it came out. That's not ongoing content, and they know that. But I guess
Yeah.
they had to, people had to shoehorn in Cyberpunk because they loved Phantom Liberty that much, which is awesome. Phantom Liberty is very good, but it's not. Like it's like they felt like they had to give Cyberpunk some kind of recognition, even though it's not really deserving of it. There's another category, I think it's best narrative, where they specifically said Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. So like for the first time ever, an expansion, a DLC
Yeah,
is
it's
going up
really
against
weird.
actual full games that came out this year. It's like y'all just
I
forcing
did want to
Cyberpunk
say
in here.
real quick. Okay,
Mhm.
listen. I think Hearts of Stone, listen, whatever year that came out in, had
Mhm.
it over full games. Okay, that was a 10-hour DLC.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, that shit was fire. Okay, better than the main quest line, in my opinion, in the Witcher 3. That should have taken it. Okay, and I would have been like, exactly, because I was dick riding that game hard. All right. Anyway, moving on from that.
Well, and they're dick riding Phantom Liberty just as hard because it's regardless of how great it is not should not be eligible for the category. So one of the best DLCs expansions I've ever, well, two, I would say two, Dragon Age Awakenings and Lair the Shadow Broker from Mass Effect 2. Amazing, amazing expansions, but you had to own the full game to play them, which means when they came out, they should not have been, and they weren't eligible for any awards that were, for best narrative or anything like that. Now, I think what they should do next year is have like best expansion or some kind of like a specific, like a certain award for those kind of things. If you,
Best
let's say,
expansion
if
or DLC.
right. If the final shape next year is amazing, then that would be in that category, as well as like other actual expansions to a game that actually came out years ago would be in there, like Warframe's next expansion, stuff like that. Then you could put in a Phantom Liberty, and it makes sense because it's going up against other expansions and DLCs, and not full games where actual developer is basically trying to work on the full game experience and that full game story, and not just a focused story on one district inside of Night City. Just like, I mean,
Oh shit! Did I
again,
not tweet
great
this?
expansion,
Wow.
but come on.
Did I tweet the show out, guys?
Maybe.
Did anybody see
double
it
check.
from the Twitter? Oops. I didn't I tweeted out just now. Oops.
No, I think
All
it's
right.
going to be Fortnite or Genshin Impact.
All right. Let's see here. Best performance. So I would like Yuri to win.
I would
But
like
I've
Neil
got
to win
which
because
character's name you play?
Starion is
Is he the one like vampire looking
He's the
dude, or-
vampire.
yeah, he is such a well written character, so well performed. Like it's elegant, but it's also very tragic, and he definitely deserves it because if we're talking about on a performance, like
Mhm.
you love him at the when you
Yeah, I
get
gotta get
like
Baldur's Gate, dude. I gotta stop
you
fucking
you
playing.
you do get emotionally attached to him because it's just the performance is so well done.
All right. Oh my god, what is that character's name?
I chose Melanie. She plays Saga
Oh,
in
okay.
Alan Wake
Saga,
2.
Saga.
I'm just supporting the Black Queen. Really, I think Ben Starr as Clive was the best performance I saw this year. So
My
I really
boyfriend,
think
yes.
I think he's deserving. So yeah.
Wait, so you thought he was better than Sterling?
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Oh my god, I love this actor. Okay, so Best art direction. Okay, so Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom,
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Why
Yeah.
are these Nintendo games here?
That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, art direction is different from like graphical fidelity and everything.
I
But
mean,
this is outstanding creative,
Also-
achievement
also
in
te-
artistic design. There's nothing creative about Mario Bros. It looks exactly the way Mario has always looked.
yeah.
Zelda is not creative.
It
That's
is
the way
creative.
that's the way it looked for
No,
Breath of the
I
Wild.
don't agree.
no. We're not doing that because the whole verticality falling down, the way they have the whole build your own
That's
shit in the game.
that's
Like-
different.
No.
That's we talking about art direction, not falling up and down.
Yeah, but it says outstanding creative or technical achievement in artistic
There ain't
design
nothing
or
technical,
animation.
no technical achievement in the lack of textures that's up in Tears of the
Yeah,
Kingdom.
but
That's what I'm
I've
saying.
also-
It's not
I've-
about the
I've al-
textures, though.
No, it's animation.
But
and
he talked about
design.
technical achievement, and I'm just like, that's not a technical
He's
achievement.
talking about,
but I'm on about in the
a
animation.
gameplay element of it.
Yes, the building aspect. Like I've seen some creations. People have made laser beams, tanks, flying jets, mechs. Someone even played the theme song from Zelda in the game. Like
That's
it's
a song. We're
so
talking about
well designed and
But
animations.
what about the other things that he listed, though?
Yes,
none of that's great
I'm not
compared to
talking
anything
about
else
the
that's on this
graphics or
list.
textures.
But this
No.
that's what the
No, I think art direction is
art
different
direction.
from like graphical stuff because Lies of P
Like-
isn't necessarily like some crazy graphical game or anything. You know what I'm saying? Alan Wake
I
2 is
think
the
the
only
art
one.
in Lies of P is very good.
I mean, the art in Lies of P is giving Bloodborne. You know, we've seen it before, so that's how I feel about it. You know,
Well,
But
it's
yeah,
not
but
written
then you
as
don't
well.
really have like the robots or however you want to call them.
Yeah, but
and
the
Lies
aesthetic
of
is like Bloodborne.
but it looks amazing.
Yes, it does look amazing. I'm just saying, like it's been seen before. You know.
hmm
Okay, but
I mean, just don't be surprised if
the
Zelda
Nintendo
wins,
games
if Zelda
don't
wins
look amazing. They probably will win because we know how
Hi-Fi Rush
this
should
stuff
win.
goes.
I mean,
Hi-Fi
I'm
Rush
not.
Yeah, I think Hi-Fi Rush should win this. Yeah.
Yeah, Okay, so no one's like I didn't say that Mario or Zelda like looked amazing. I just talked about like the art direction. So just point that out. I wouldn't be surprised if Zelda wins this, but I think Hi-Fi Rush should.
It should.
I voted for Lies of P, but if Hi-Fi Rush wins, I think that's well deserved.
I voted
it's
for Hi-Fi Rush.
like the cutscene animations and all that stuff's great, and then to see the actual game really be represented in what you see in the cutscene as well, and the fluidness of the animation is very good. So yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is deserving. I think Alan Wake is only here for that little artsy fartsy kind of imagery that you get sometimes when Alan starts like, they put the opacity on like 90, and then it's like Alan typing on a typewriter in the background.
Lord.
He started walking. He started thinking. Did he
All
eat
right.
lunch yet? Like, shut up, yo. It's just it's not even all that impressive in my opinion, but it's here because they love Alan Wake. So yeah.
Okay. So best game direction. Honestly speaking, I don't know why Spider-Man 2 is here. Because I don't
know.
There's
either.
nothing innovative about that game, in my opinion. In my opinion. All right. I don't
you're
know
right. You're right.
anything about
You can add that to Mario too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why these two are here, but Zelda for sure deserves to be here, as does Baldur's Gate 3. And I don't know enough
agree
about
with
Alan
that.
Wake 2 to comment on it. So
I will say
Yeah.
this: Alan Wake 2 is probably going to win this because the game design and the game direction is what a lot of the games media and the reviewers gushed over.
Yep.
You got dual protagonists that you can switch back and forth with, but once you get to a certain point, and the way that the writing is very good for both, and the way it slowly kind of unfolds more gameplay mechanics as you get further, it's well done, and it's something that like I always appreciate about Remedy, because Remedy isn't afraid to take chances. And a lot of other studios, and I'm not knocking anyone, because like I love Insomniac, but Insomniac doesn't really take chances with Spider-Man, which is okay because the games are of high quality. But Remedy is different in how the first Alan Wake was the kind of game that it was, and then they went more on the survival horror aspect for the sequel. How you could look at like Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control, and then Alan Wake 2 and see how they all have their own lane or are very different. And so with Alan Wake 2, you just definitely see how there are things they're doing with this game. If this game came out last generation, they probably wouldn't have been able to achieve on a technical level. So yeah, I just think they're gonna give this to Alan Wake 2 because it's the one that's super innovative in the field.
The thing is, though, despite all that, Zelda might still win it anyway because of the whole, as I was saying earlier, the verticality and being able to build stuff in the game. It's such a departure from what Breath of the Wild was.
Yeah, I was seeing some crazy shit that people were creating.
I've seen some wild stuff people are building in
saw
that
some
game.
Nasty stuff. I saw some nasty stuff people were building too. Freaking freaks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can see Zelda taking it though, but I mean, it's not an impossibility. It's between Alan Wake and Zelda, though.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Okay, so best narrative, Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win this.
Baldur's Gate 3 wins.
You know, shout out to the rest of these games, but Baldur's Gate 3, 100%. Best narrative, I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna say it. What's Spider-Man doing up here? It's a good story.
It's a good story. I like the story.
Outstanding storytelling, Slow-mo.
Okay, so we got 5 is there another game that had a better story that will bump it out of let's say it's the 5th game? What's 6 and 7 that were probably deserve more votes to get Spider-Man out of there?
I'm gonna keep it a stack. I would have to see what games released this year. You know, I didn't play shit, so
yeah, I think it's a good story. The MJ stuff really, you know, it kind of it knocked it down a little for me on the MJ stuff. But outside of that, I enjoyed the dynamic of Peter and Miles, and especially like Miles and his journey with Martin Lee. I thought the storytelling was good. Once it hits that part, you know, in the trailer they showed last summer where they're chasing the lizard. Like once you go from there on to the end of the game, it's almost like you don't want to do anything but just do the main missions, because doing the side missions just kind of like pulls you out of the like nonstop ride that's happening, because everything seems so immediate. But that said, I probably enjoy Final Fantasy 16 story better. I definitely enjoy Phantom Liberty's story. I haven't finished Phantom Liberty yet, and I still enjoy that story better than Spider-Man 2. Even though I don't even think Phantom Liberty even should be eligible for this. So I think it's fine that it's up there. Spider-Man's up there. I just don't think it matters because it's not going to win. Like it's either going to be Baldur's Gate 3 or Alan Wake 2.
As someone pointed out, the people who win Game of the Year don't win too many awards. So I could see Alan Wake winning this. And if anything other than Baldur's Gate wins this, Baldur's Gate is automatically Game of the Year, because there is no possible way it could lose it. So if it doesn't get it, then that's the indicator, it's going to get Game of the Year. Because it'll win Best RPG.
So you think whoever loses this, that's also in the Game of the Year category, will win Game of the Year? That's what you're saying?
No. Like, if Baldur's Gate loses, yeah, it should. Because remember, Red Dead Redemption swept and then God of War won it. And God of War won what? Like 2 awards? And then just wins Game of the Year? So Red Dead Redemption swept. So I could see that happening where they win Best RPG. They may win Best Narrative. But if Baldur's Gate doesn't win Best Narrative, then it's a lock for Game of the Year.
What if neither of these games win Game of the Year?
Well, then someone's smoking crack.
I have been saying this ever since I realized, because people kept talking about recency bias in these awards, and so I decided to just do some research and look it up, and I found out that the only game that has won Game of the Year for this award show in the past decade has been that came out released after July, so it would be recent, has been Dragon Age Inquisition. Everything else has released before July, like
Yeah,
most of
I
them
don't know why people
February.
keep saying this recency bias thing.
Yeah,
Like
it's not
again,
true.
Elden Ring like proved that that's just not true. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Elden Ring was
Tears of the Kingdom
February.
came out like summer, right? Or not Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
Oh my
June.
God, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild.
no, Breath of the Wild came out in like it came out at the same time as the Switch, which is like March, or I think it was March. I think, yeah. But no, all of them came out in like either quarter one or quarter two of the year, and there have been no winners since 2015, since 2014 that have been released after July. And the only game that's in the Game of the Year category right now that released earlier than July is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in June. So
Yeah, so I don't know why people.
that's my choice, just because I just, based off of their history, it ain't
Yeah.
got nothing to do with who deserves it. Yeah.
All right, but okay, so let's talk about okay. Let's make this shit quick. Xbox tax. Okay, is the Xbox tax real? All right. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. Are there like media outlets or people in the media who flat out don't like Xbox? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. And that's all I gotta say about it. What about the rest of you?
I do not think there's a tax. I don't think there is like, hey, this game is awesome. I love this game. I gave it a 9, but due to the Xbox tax, I gotta drop it down to an 8.5. Like, I don't think there are
Okay, like
people
when you explain
that,
it like that, it does sound a bit.
but that seems to be like the way people explain it to me is like it doesn't matter what it is. Like, so Xbox acquires a developer, and automatically the games that they make, were of a certain quality, and now they're like lesser quality because Xbox owns them, Microsoft owns them, and it's like that's the tax. And I'm just like, nah, you got to actually look at each game on its own merit. It's like people are thinking that if you made games of a certain quality before, that you should always get the same kind of critical success that you got from your next games due to what you did previously. That completely ignores examples like BioWare, where you go from being epic and amazing and legendary to making
Trash.
absolute gutter trash. Like, stuff happens, developers change, people leave, and it doesn't always stay static like that. That's just a very like simplistic view of things. I don't think there is an Xbox tax with Xbox. I just think that, and here's the other reason. The same people who will talk about Xbox tax will also proudly bring up how the average Metacritic score of Xbox first party games over a certain period of time are within 2% of Sony's first party games. So what is it? Like, is it an Xbox tax, or is it just that they've got good games, but they don't have the can't miss epic game that everyone has to get? And frankly, we saw it, and we talked about it earlier with Hogwarts Legacy. It doesn't matter what reviewers say about a game. If people enjoy it, think it's amazing, and love it, they're going to play and buy it and enjoy it all they want anyway, because you can only go so far in trying to influence things. And Xbox games they haven't had that game yet. But if they get that game, that one game that everyone's got to play, it's going to be undeniable. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Someone can go, I hate Xbox. This game's a 5 out of 10 because of that. You're going to get ignored because the quality of that game will supersede what anyone has to say about it.
Yeah, so Erodimus said that Metro literally did that Hi-Fi Rush to Hi-Fi Rush on their review. Um all good singer. And then let's see here. So did Biggie Butter said look up what Metro UK said about Hi-Fi Rush.
we're talking about this one reviewer, like one
Well, yeah, 'cause
reviewer.
and then I mean, listen, I did say that there are some reviewers who don't like Xbox.
Exactly. There are exactly. We both said that there are reviewers who don't like Xbox, but that does not mean
Yes.
one reviewer does not make their attacks that is like understood and known throughout the entire like games media. Like that's
No,
crazy.
this Xbox tax came out of nowhere, and I have no idea where it started or who came up with it. I just logged on one day and I'm like, what the hell is an Xbox tax? There is no tax. It's just the games that release just aren't as good as what they should be. Starfield got its score because it had issues. Like, that is
Yeah.
undeniable. Like, Redfall had its issues. Like, Hi-Fi Rush didn't. And you saw it got universal. Why didn't Hi-Fi Rush get hit with the Xbox tax? It was a shadow drop and it's a small game. Ain't no one looking out for that. No,
And it's
it
been
dropped
nominated
and
4
everyone loved it.
times. It's been
Exactly.
nominated 4 times, but see, they get upset because it's not Game of the Year,
yeah, but
and it's just like
the thing is, if look how stacked this year is with good games. Like, you can't be a good game; you have to be a great game to get nominated. Like any other year, Starfield would be nominated. But look at the games that dropped this year. You're like, oh, it's a fantastic RPG, but it's not even the best RPG to release this year. That's Baldur's Gate. So you can't even claim that. So it's the Xbox tax is real. You just have to come to the reality that the game just isn't as highly rated or acclaimed as or as good, opinion based, as
Yeah,
other
I think
games this year.
if it come out last year. What came out last year?
Elden. It still would have lost last
Yeah,
year.
I
to
know it
Elden
would have
Ring.
lost. I'm just saying, like,
But
for nominations.
would it? Yeah, let me go look it up because there was Elden Ring, there was God of War Ragnarok.
Both excellent games.
Mm-hmm.
The Elden King, obviously, not even a question. Shout out to Lynch saying Xbox tax is a cope, in my opinion. They can have fun games, but they don't come out polished as you'd hope. So the reviews are a bit lower. Yeah, I think the only Xbox game that came out this year that was not polished was Redfall, and the rest of them were fine, right? Singer?
Well, the only one that yeah, I mean, Starfield had a few issues, but yeah,
I
it was
mean,
Okay.
polished for the
in
most part.
comparison to what
Yeah,
Bethesda normally
it
does.
wasn't but Redfall was a critical flop. Like, yeah.
Redfall's an awful game. It's just straight up and down. It's a terrible game. Now here are the nominees for last year. It was Elden Ring that won, A Plague's Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah,
Now, I think
Starfield would have been
everyone kind of
nominated
felt
last year.
it would have been nominated because
It would have been
Stray would have
nominated
been up
last
out of here. Stray should have not have even been in there.
Yep.
Frankly, Stray is only cat lovers really think it deserved to be there. So yeah, Starfield would have came out last year
It
the
would've been
way
nominated.
they intended it. It would have been nominated. Yeah.
This year was just too stacked, bro. It was just too stacked, man.
Also, the counter the whole narrative, because there've been people going around saying that Xbox hasn't had a game of the year nominee in 11 years, and I think it's funny that how people pick and choose when to give Xbox credit for games that are first party, because they acquired Obsidian. I'm sorry, they acquired Double Fine, and after acquiring Double Fine, they also gave Double Fine the budget to put the boss fights in their game. And Psychonauts 2 was a nominee like 2 years ago, right? Let me double check. I think it was 2 years ago. It was, yes, in 2021, when It Takes Two won, Psychonauts 2 was in there. That is, and it's listed as Double Fine, and the publisher is listed as Xbox Game Studios.
Yeah, so that's an Xbox
like,
game.
People who were trying to not give them credit for that or exposing themselves is just being biased fanboys. So the whole idea that, and then there's also the other side that's championing this Xbox tax, that's pretending like that didn't happen, because you can't say there's an Xbox tax that every time a developer gets acquired by Xbox, automatically they get treated like their games are worser. When Psychonauts 2, when Double Fine has the most critical success out of any of their games, like none of the other games got nominated for Game of the Year, but the one game they released under Xbox did. Like that completely undoes your entire argument.
Also, a curious thing. Say, some people at IGN have a bias against Xbox, but they gave Forza Horizon 5 their Game of the Year. Like, and rightfully so, it is a great game. Oh yeah, why didn't Forza Horizon 5 get hit with the Xbox tax?
Yeah,
yeah. Instead of bringing that up, they bring up they didn't get nominated for Game of the Year when no racer ever gets nominated for Game of the Year.
Exactly.
Come on.
All sports
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Luca.
Yeah. No, yeah, I listen, what's up, Sonny?
What's up, Sonny?
Yeah, and Rodimus said it's the Microsoft tax. I want to. That does not make any sense. Okay, it doesn't make any sense.
What's the difference?
What? Okay, what like casual normal person hates Microsoft? Like, have you ever heard the words "I hate Microsoft" come out of anybody's mouth around you? I know it's anecdotal, but I've never heard anyone say that unless they are like ingrained, like ingrained in like tech. Like I could imagine someone like Mudahar saying that, but
no, I have, Luca. I've heard, because sometimes Windows crashes and does some messed up things, and then they start cursing out Windows and Microsoft.
I mean, this is what I was bitching about Windows 11 the other day, but I wasn't like I fucking hate Microsoft. I was like, man, fuck Windows 11, man. Like
exactly, it's the product, not the company. and to be frank, IGN, because I got into a bit of a discussion with some Xbox guys about this, and they kept bringing up all these examples of like IGN saying certain things or doing certain articles, and I'm just like, you know why they do that? Because unlike other fan bases, communities of other platforms, you guys get so irate and up in arms and sharing these articles when they say they have salacious headlines. It's about clicks, and they're trying to get that foot traffic. They do that, but they don't do it to the degree that Xbox guys do. Xbox guys act like it was they were personally offended.
I don't know that. I think ponies do it the same amount. I feel like they're even more offended because they're not used to getting criticized, or PlayStation games getting criticized, so they're extra egregious about it. But listen, that's just my opinion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think games media goes after Sony as often or PlayStation as often because I think that the overall PlayStation community doesn't care. Like we see the ponies on Twitter go after it, but they're not like the majority of the actual PlayStation community. The majority of the PlayStation community is a bunch of casuals that don't even know this award show exists.
Yeah, but the majority of the Xbox community is a bunch of casuals. Like, I'm talking about like the actual people on Xbox do not care about this stuff.
Is it that many of them really though?
I mean, yes.
Yes. Luca, I don't know. I don't think there's that many Xbox people out there.
30 million Xbox Ones, right?
Is it 30? We mean Xbox Series?
Xbox One, Xbox Series. Xbox Ones. Xbox Ones.
There were a total of 50 eventually. Yeah. 50
million.
So
I mean, there are more casual. I'm saying there are more casuals on these platforms, and Singer had to go, guys, so shout out to him, but there are more casuals on these platforms than the fanboy communities, maybe like 20,000 people, maybe, but like, yeah, I would say maybe 20,000. Majority of people don't care about this stuff.
Yeah, the majority don't care, but I think they do that. They make those kind of headlines and they make these kind of articles to get you guys riled up. So you guys start clicking on them and then screenshotting portions of the article so that you could go on Twitter and complain about the fact that they had the audacity to say what they said about this, and then you tweet it out to your group of people who follow you, and then they look at it, and then you're just spreading. You're giving them free publicity to spread around this clickbait article that you can't stand. saying. The best thing you could do to counter this is to just ignore that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Stop.
I got you, Blade X. Name a PlayStation movement, like hold the line. Yeah, when those fucking ponies were cucking about, complaining about cross progression and crossplay. Your guest Erotimus is on the okay. Erotimus, before you start talking, I got a notification saying you're on an Android such Chrome, which has a bug that causes an echo. Google's working on a fix for now. Please ask your guest to wear headphones to avoid echo or use a different browser. We've also informed your guest.
You do have a lot of background noise.
Okay.
And also, Zune and the Windows Phone just sucked. Okay, they sucked.
No, yeah. I mean, the Zoom. No, they didn't suck. I had both. They didn't suck. Did you have them?
I don't think Zoom sucked. I never had a Windows phone, so I can't really speak on that. But Zoom was good. It's just, you know, it came out at the wrong time. Microsoft missed the boat. I think at that point the casual audience was calling them iPods. It's an MP3 player, bro.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with timing, right? They're always either too late or too early. What do you think, Erotimus?
Yeah, it could be that. I think a lot of times with some of the devices, Microsoft was late to the game or too early in the game because the Zoom brought in the subscription streaming service for music. So they had that before anybody else. So that's why I had a Zoom, because you could just pay a monthly fee to get all the music you want to. And so that's why I said, oh, that's before Spotify or even Apple, Apple's subscription service. So they were doing that beforehand. So I said, oh, but the media didn't like it. So I was like, they always criticized it because it wasn't an iPod. It wasn't doing what it did. And then Windows Phone was the flexibility of Android, but the security of iPhone, because I was a developer with it. I did mobile development for both. And I said, Windows Phone is just the best of both worlds, because if people didn't like Android because it had bad battery life, the insecurity, they could go to Windows Phone, but it wasn't supported. And Google kind of killed that because they didn't put their apps on there. So that's why I said.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was like, that's why Windows Phone died, because it did not have the apps that people wanted. Like iPhone and Google phones, Android phones had back then, I think, what was the most popular app? Facebook at that time. Like, if you didn't have the 5 most popular apps out there, you were dead. So Windows Phone was never going to go anywhere without that, no matter how technically it worked.
But I was saying the Microsoft tax is based on the consumer product. Every time they came out with a consumer product, it was looked at as ill-fated because they were a business company. And most people, like, Windows is for business. Office. Why do I want Office on the phone? And that's what Office on a personal tablet. That's why they came out with the Xbox, because they thought Sony was going to make a PC for the living room. They was going to take over the living room space. That's why they made the Xbox. But when the first Xbox came out, people criticized that, was saying, why is Microsoft getting in the gaming space? So it was always something with the consumer products people didn't like, because they were known for just the business products, just like IBM or Xerox or anything like that. They were never considered the consumer products. And, people will say, Windows has viruses and everything like that. It was always considered a negative connotation on Windows or Microsoft products. That's why I say every time they got reviewed, like if you look at the reviews for a Surface laptop compared to like a MacBook, it has more innovative stuff, but it'll get a lower rating because it's not an Apple product. So I just always say,
the same goes for Android.
A fucking scam. I'm sorry. MacBooks are a fucking scam. Like, what's in there and then the price? Same with iPhones, obviously, but still, I'm sorry. Continue.
But the same could be said for Android. For a long time, Android was way more innovative. By the time like Apple would adopt some of the features that Android had, it would be like 3 years later. But then, due to there being so many different Android phones being made by so many different manufacturers, you did have less consistency and more bugs and issues with Android phones than you did with iPhones. So I mean, like, the same could be applied. It wasn't just a Microsoft thing with Windows Phone, because Android had the same problems. It's just that Apple would side more on the safer side of, when we do adopt it, it works more consistently than the other guys that adopted it years earlier. But thank you for working the bugs out. We appreciate that. When we adopted, it's going to be a lot more solid. Which, like, you could pick and choose what you think is more important and what you care about, which is more important. Which people, when it comes to phones, have absolutely done that. But I don't think that's a specific Microsoft like tax or Microsoft bias. It's just
not specific to that. That just more, but if the media industry, they more, because they used to do this thing, what's in my bag, and you notice everything in their bag was always Apple products, and so what's funny is like all the reviewers, like Engadget, The Verge, Tom's Guide, they were always Mac users. They go to the media events. You watch the media events for the new iPhones. There'd be rows of Apple devices, but then when they come to review the Microsoft devices or anything that was related, like HP or adjacent, Windows devices, they always got bad reviews because they wasn't Mac devices. So I was like, oh, there's a bias there, because in the tech industry, or in the overall tech industry, there was a bias because consumer products for the Windows side was never treated fairly, the same as MacBooks, and then that stems down to the general public. I've had friends where they'll buy a $2,000 MacBook and say it never gets viruses. But working in IT and security, is that more people get they didn't write viruses at the time because of the population
adoption.
The adoption wasn't that
worth
high.
it. Yeah, it wasn't worth writing a virus for something ain't nobody using.
Yeah, but then it turned out they had the most money, so they started writing viruses for it. And I said, you can buy 3 $500 Windows laptops that be more powerful than that $2,000 MacBook, but that's here or there. So go ahead.
Not me being muted. I was going to say it's all about like optics and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Apple has, I don't know about recently, but Apple has pretty good PR. Had pretty good PR for a long time.
Yeah, when Steve Jobs was around, their PR has kind of dropped it because they're just the same old. But to get back to the just to be not the echo chamber, the Xbox tax, I just stemmed that from being what a greater the overall picture, what I've seen, how Microsoft has been treated through the last 20, 30 years I've been following or been dealing with her, something like that. So in the industry. So I think Xbox, in some cases, if you take one game that's marketed by Xbox and it goes for review, you can have 70% of the reviews still be on PlayStation because all the reviewers preferably do it on PlayStation than Xbox. So if I
actually heard a little differently with that. I've spoken to people who do reviews and say that even if they ask for an Xbox key, sometimes the producer or whoever they interface with the publisher will say we only have PlayStation keys available.
Also, when Nautical asked for a key, he asked for the Xbox version. They give him PlayStation.
Yeah, and they provision, like, the provisioning of keys isn't just as like basically like press a button and here's a key. There's actually a whole process that goes into it, and there's a certain number that a publisher will agree to send out. And so when they're doing that, and then they also you have to bring into account the number of gamers that are out there that are playing on one platform compared to another. What do people more want to hear? Do they want to hear how the game performs on a PlayStation or how a game performs on an Xbox? So this is why I think if a publisher chooses to make keys, they're going to make a keys primarily on the PlayStation side of things because that's what they think people want to hear. Go ahead.
But if a game is marketed on Xbox, why is it predominantly mostly PlayStation keys that are produced? Let's say like Valhalla, I think that was one that was marketed through Xbox. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think it had more PlayStation reviews than Xbox reviews. If I last remember, that was one of.
Well, Rodimus, do you think that marketing is going to change the numbers of where Ubisoft expects the sales to come from?
No, not exactly. Well, this was the beginning of a generation too, so they probably don't know. So both consoles at the beginning, I think Xbox was outselling PlayStation in the very beginning, or they were 1-for-1 even. So even in that scenario, they may predict, they may say, hey, the PlayStation, because of the PlayStation 4, because they were cross-gen games, yes, PlayStation 4 was probably the predominant system. But if you're saying you're marketing as a next generation game, and both systems are one for one, so why is more still the reviewer still leaning towards PlayStation?
I mean, I can't answer that question definitively, but I'm just gonna think that they assumed that like they just assumed that it was going to be sold more on PlayStation than Xbox. Either way, like you could have the same number of like player base, but if the number of people who buy games on a particular player base may be different, you know. So you're right. Yeah, like it came out in November 2020, but it looks like the PlayStation 4 had 54 reviews, which of course, you know, that's like over 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most reviews. So check this out. I'm looking at the Metacritic right now. Actually, I'll share my screen so I can show you. There we go. Luca, can you pull that up?
I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. Shout out to my boy Bari with the who's been a member for 31 months. Scum tier saying a PlayStation Portal over the Series X. What up, Luca? Yeah. That hay that you've been eating lately. I don't know what's going on with it. You know, it's absolutely fucking not. All right, but shout out to you, baby. How you doing, man?
He gotta get his fiber up. You know, shout out to Bari.
Movie realms. Come on, man. I need you to start being serious for 1 second, okay? He meant the YouTuber, not the actual historical context. Like nobody is saying that over here. Let's focus on gaming for this conversation right here.
Okay, that's weird. So look, Erodimus, these are the number of reviews breakdown for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The most reviews were for PlayStation 4 at 54 reviews, which makes sense because that platform, well over 100, 100 million PlayStation 4s out in the wild. When it came to the current gen consoles, 47 reviews. The second most reviews was for the Xbox Series X, which you said had the marketing. So that actually tracks with what we're saying here, that like you said they were very close in holiday time 2020. So the majority of the reviews were for the Xbox Series X and only 8 for the PS5 and 33 for the PC, which of course makes sense. So this actually tracks. The most reviews went, because it's a cross-gen game, went to the biggest platform where the game would actually be played on, which was the PlayStation 4.
Okay, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I picked the wrong game because I thought it was more reviews, but I guess it's more reviews on the PlayStation 4 side than the PS5 side. But other words, but still the marketing, I guess on the Xbox Series X was the marketed game. So you're right. I'll concede that point. But I think it's just one of those things where it can't be a real thing. You can't use that as a crutch. I think it's just so many areas and factors in our life we have biases, and people, it can be good or bad. And it just seems like the part that says tax, I think who the PR rep that made the word Xbox tax is kind of destroying the narrative that, okay, we have to look at a grander scale of why is something being pushed
you said a PR rep created the Xbox tax?
No, I was making a joke on that. You know how how politicians make it.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out where it began, because I also kind of want to know, like, because it seems like everyone has a different like thought on what is a Xbox tax. So I guess trying to figure out exactly where it started might be a good idea. But yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I know a lot of people are like really ragging on it, but it's like whatever to me, in my opinion. Like at the end of the day, I personally, and I said this in my video, I think that Xbox has the chance to be nominated for Game of the Year, depending on how Avowed comes out and is received, depending on if Fable comes out next year and how that's received, and Hellblade 2, if that ever comes out.
I think like somebody said, the Xbox community overhypes their games. I mean, you can be hyped for a game, but if you're using the hype for the game as console war fodder or something like that. That's always going to destroy your narrative, and you're going to be disappointed when it doesn't come out the way you expect it to. So it's one of those things. When we thought Starfield was supposed to be like a high 80s, mid 90s game or something like that, and it didn't turn out that way. And now that destroys the narrative, and that gives the other people fuel to destroy, to talk bad about you. So it's going to be the same way on both
score
sides.
is in line with like Bethesda titles, at least modern Bethesda titles, for fall Starfield, that is. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It probably is.
I think, to the difference between overhyping a game and being hyped for a game is that if you're hyped for a game, it's all internal. It's about you. Like, I'm hyped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? I have a thought that it probably will be reviewed extremely well. That said, if it's not reviewed extremely well, if there are issues that I did not anticipate with the game that come out through actual playing it, and they may have not delivered in a way that I didn't anticipate, that's not, anyone else's fault but Square Enix. If people disagree with my feeling on that game, I didn't become overhyping the game when I start thinking without playing the game, it's guaranteed to be this good. It's guaranteed to be a game of the generation.
That was me and Singer with Cider.
Right. And see that's overhyped.
Yeah.
When you already have gone for a game you haven't played yet, don't know what's going on internally. And for Cyberpunk, there was a whole lot going on crazy and wrong internally. And you already think that this is on this level, and it's not based upon the actual content and quality of the game. It's based upon how you feel about the IP, the developer, and how you just personally feel. And then and I'll bring this into Starfield, when what you thought it was going to be doesn't line up with reality, people who go towards it's a conspiracy, that's when it's just like, all right, you're not really seeing things for what they are. Like, Starfield's not a perfect game.
No.
And I think
that's not the one they should be fighting for. I think they should be fighting for Hi-Fi Rush myself. I think that game is just utterly amazing. How just the technical aspect of the transitions from the cutscenes to the action to just the how to play on the music, and it tries to train you to actually hit along the music and everything like that, and it doesn't over penalize you for it. I think that game is something I thought, man, I ain't never played anything like this ever. It's like you played music games before, but then it's not the same. It's just not the same. So
but look, I think a lot of, even though I think the vast majority of games and media have proven themselves to have no integrity with this whole thing, but they've given Hi-Fi Rush its due credit, I believe, with 4 nominations.
I think it has 5 nominations. But it's the only
even better.
It's the only game with 4+ nominations that's not in the Game of the Year category. Even it has more nominations outside of the Game of the Year category than Mario Wonder and Zelda, which has 4, and then a Game of the Year not. So you think of that. It's even in the category of Best Action Game. If it wins its Best Action Game and has all the accessibility, art direction, let's say if it wins 2 or 3 titles, right?
Facts,
bro. Nas. Yeah. You think, why does it not get a shot to be Game of the Year? I was like,
it was just a stacked year, man. I really think that's just what it comes down to. Like, again, I would put Hi-Fi Rush in there before Resident Evil, but let me not get jumped by the Resident Evil fans. Okay, I didn't play either of those games. Okay, please don't hurt me.
And I think it sets a bad precedent though too for developers. They said, why do we need to make new IPs and take more risks if there's not going to be a reward for it at the end? Although Hi-Fi Rush is getting some of its just dues.
Game of the Year shouldn't be the only reward. Like, I just thought about when you were saying about like how many that it could potentially win, and that it's not in the Game of the Year category. I mean, I went back in 2019. Disco Elysium won 4 awards. It won Best Independent Game, Best Narrative, Best Role Playing Game, and Best.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But mileage may vary with how people feel about it, and Best Debut Indie Game, and wasn't in the Game of the Year category. So I think considering the kind of game, brand new IP, kind of indie. You know, both that Hi-Fi Rush kind of fits in that lane of you get a bunch of nominations because you're a good game, but it's not like it's not going to be on that level of game of the year. Now, I will absolutely agree with the crowd that feels there is some kind of Xbox tax stuff going on here. If Fable comes out and Fable gets the same critical success as Forza Horizon 5, but not being a racer and being more along the kind of game that would get nominated for Game of the Year, if all of that happened and it still didn't get in the Game of the Year nomination, all right, I agree with y'all. There's a bias there happening, but I just doubt that would happen. If Fable ended up being a 95 rated Metacritic game, all kinds of success, 20 million people playing it on Game Pass, it's a guaranteed Game of the Year nominee. Like Psychonauts 2 was, with even less success.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2 is a great game. I think Fable might, if it's trying to stick to the original Fable script of the crude humor and all that stuff, and we're looking at 2025, there might be some kind of political statement or something that says, we don't want that in gaming. I can see some made-up stuff like that. We don't need that kind of stuff anymore in gaming. So that's one of those things. But yeah, it is. It's just thanks for letting me speak my piece.
Of course, yeah, I really appreciate hearing your perspective. You know, you should get a good mic and come through more, or you know, the other shows that you enjoy. Ask to if you can come through as a guest. You have some great thoughts, great perspectives as well, man.
Yeah, Rodimus is always in our chat, you know, fighting the good fight for Xbox. Look, you get a high quality mic, you know, go talk. Don't talk to Forte, because Forte will try to make you spend $1,000 just to sound good on the microphone. But
don't talk to Slomo. He'll make you buy 2 mics. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh shit!
No, I got a little setup at home, but I'm actually I'm out of town because we're going to be flying out tomorrow to Cancun. So right now, so
okay,
I'm out of pocket right now, so I'm just on my phone. That's in my headphones.
Oh man, you better pack them bags, man. Okay, about to have a good time.
Stay safe, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, safe travels, man.
All right, see you back in the chat, buddy.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye. Nautical was good, baby.
What it do? How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. We're
good.
Just I'm sorry, what?
I said good.
Oh, I thought you said mid. I was like, what do you mean?
You know how slow
you calm down a little, Luca. I said good. She's like, what you say? What you say? Huh? Like what?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Nautical, let's make it quick. Thoughts on the Game of the Year nominations, and we're going to talk about this Last of Us Remastered. Then we'll do the community topics, and we'll get the fuck up out of here. My back is starting to hurt, y'all. My back is starting. I'm old.
Oh, Game of the Year, it's fine. It's everything that should be there. I mean, everything deserves to be there. It's just Resident Evil is there's so many like I don't have a problem with a remake being there. I just have a problem with a remake being there when there's so many other good games that aren't remakes or are brand new IPs that could be in there. If any other year, you know, I think that's fine. I just think that it's too stacked to have it. So, but outside of that, I think everything definitely that is there deserves to be there. It's just that it's just too pack of a year to have. In as much as I love both the Nintendo games, I think it's too pack of a year to have 2 Nintendo games. Mm-hmm. And then I just think Resident Evil being a remake shouldn't be there because it's too many other good games that came out this year that could take that place. But you know,
nice. I think that's fair.
Yep, they didn't do horrible. It's just, you know, they could have went about it a little bit of a different way.
All right, bet. Okay, so The Last of Us 2 is getting a remaster. What year did The Last of Us 2 come out?
2019.
2019. I think 2020, right? Yeah.
No, 2020. You're right. 2020. My bad.
It came out right before PS5 came out. It came out right before PS5.
So 3 years later, it'll be 4 years because it's not coming. It's coming out. It's supposed to be January, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw this, I was like, well,
remix.
That makes sense. I mean, it
makes sense.
It makes sense. But is it crazy?
It's a $10 upgrade. It's not like The Last of Us. It's not like The Last of Us Part 1 remake that was a full price game.
You know what? we're gonna get The Last of Us Part 2 remake and maybe like
Yeah, we gonna
couple
get
years
it.
after this.
Launch with the PS6.
Yeah, for PS6, I think so.
Yep,
But I
PS6.
said I was like a remaster announcement before Factions release is actually kind of insane. Oh my god. But yeah, and then also I saw that this shout out listen had me fucking cackling. Shout out to Nick, right? So here's the PS4 and PS5 difference from The Last of Us Part 2. Okay. All right. It says captive on PS5, as you can see right here. Okay. Then Pyro's like, it's not a joke. This is the actual difference. Okay. And then shout out to Nick's like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. I like burst out fucking laughing. It's like, dude, that's fucking hysterical.
What's he mean nearly identical? It looks like somebody tell me the difference. Like, is it in the window or something? Is it like it's not with the character model? Go back up.
One.
Okay, so this is for the PS5.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is for PS4.
Why does the PS4 one look sharper?
Probably because he took like a screenshot of this mid as
maybe
video
that's
was going.
because that's the well, if it says, you know what,
I
that's
don't
not
fucking know,
in
dude.
game though. That's why.
Oh wait, I think her shirt has more detail in the PS5 version.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it.
And the
Bro,
lighting is
I'm
different. The
sack. I
lighting of the
can't fucking-
shadows is
No,
different.
my eyes are not the best. Oh wait,
No,
you know,
man.
we'll see how it looks when the game actually comes out and they do a full comparison.
Yeah, that PS4 version
that
looks
Ellie?
better in that screen. Yeah, that's
That is
Ellie.
Ellie, yeah.
Ellie's looking kind of cute in these stills. Hold up, she don't be looking like that. Is that how she look in the game? Like
It
all
is.
the time?
Always looking beat up.
Sometimes.
Kind of nice. Okay, shout out to you. Okay, anyway, we just move on. Anyway, are you guys excited for this? Yes, it's a $10 upgrade path.
What
I think
Jay-Z do now? Why he trending?
Jay-Z's trending?
You
Oh,
ain't
let me
see
go
that?
look.
He's trending.
No, I see it.
What's he trending
It's because
for now?
Coach K says Jeezy was bigger than Jay-Z in the South.
Oh, okay.
And then
Coach K.
Someone
man.
else said, I hope Jay-Z and Nas don't have any skeletons. And then someone's like, Jay-Z the groomer and Nas who abused Kellis. So
Oh man. Okay. Yeah,
All
that
right,
definitely
so-
do it.
and then here's a video of okay, let's just move on. All right, so
That's the rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
We're gonna move on. So yeah, okay, I don't know what to say really. For anyone who wants this, that's awesome. I wish I liked this. I wish a game I actually liked had like this much focus on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, would I buy a remaster remake of the Dragon Age every year? Yes. Yeah. Like, how much of my money do you want? Absolutely, depending on which Dragon Age it is. You know what? I'd do any of the three. I love all three, you know? So, yeah. Jay-Z's overrated, but in the 90s, he was good. Okay. Did he
Damn.
rap? Okay, so in PS5 one, Ellie got that look, okay? You get new content in game mode, so yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna wait until the game actually comes out and see what's up. All right, let's get these topics out. My back is like, guys, I'm at that point, y'all. I'm at that age, yo. Like, it's bad. Was I complaining about my back this much when I first started the show? Maybe I don't fucking remember. Okay, so shout out to Meat Puppet saying, do you think remakes should be allowed to be nominated for Game of the Year? So we did answer this earlier, Meat Puppet. So hopefully that was to your
You didn't answer the first question.
What do you mean?
That is the first question.
That is the
No,
first one.
the question asking the question. Y'all got any questions for this week?
What?
Nothing.
Oh my God.
I'm just messing with you, Luke. I was talking
Oh.
about the question you asked. Y'all got any questions for topics? That's what I was just talking about.
Just move on, Luke.
Yeah, just move on, Luke.
Oh, okay. So Phil wants to say, speaking of snubs, are there any games from other years that you feel got snubbed for a specific category? Before I even say mine, this year's RPG category is down horrendous. I know there was definitely a year I was mad because the game was not nominated, but I can't for the life of me remember what year it was and what
Fire
game.
Emblem Three Houses.
Yes. I
Yeah.
was definitely complaining about that not being nominated for something.
It should have been in the Game of the Year category.
That shit was fire, dude. Okay, you're right. You're right. It would have to have been that. All right, but Phil says, for me, Fire Emblem Fates for best music in 2016, Persona 5 and Yakuza 0 for best narrative in 2017, Lost to Wolfen. What? Wolfenstein 2?
No, hold up. Now I gotta look. There ain't no way Wolfenstein 2 was for best narrative when they decapitated the main character, let his head go down. The game came out 20 years ago. It's okay. His head went down like a trash chute, and his teammates caught it and put it on like an android body. That narrative was fun game, and I had a great time with it. And I liked the characters, but that game was stupid.
I really enjoyed it too. But yeah. Best narrative, I don't know about that. Fire Emblem Echoes for best strategy game in 2017, and Dead by Daylight never getting best ongoing game. Okay. I see. Yeah, I was definitely bitching about Fire Emblem 3.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. My daughter plays that every day still.
Yeah, let's see here.
I know. It has a big faithful community for Dead. I don't get it because I think the game looks boring and awful. But
I do too. But I'm always being asked for $10-15.
Exactly, Sonny.
For something in the game.
Exactly. Dragon Age 2. I know that's fucking right. All right.
Wow, it was nominated for best narrative.
That is ridiculous. Wow. Okay, so I bet people didn't even beat that game. I'm gonna keep it a stack. That shit was kind of hard.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie, dude. So no Envy Gaming says WB doubling down on their live service model despite the criticism that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been receiving after the gameplay trailer came out. It's too late for them to try and switch it up at this point.
Yeah, it's too late.
Who knows how much fucking money they've poured into it. And they're not going to know until they know when the game actually comes out how it's going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll learn one way or another, you know?
I don't think that game's going to do very good. But I think it'll probably sell great.
And then the reason I'm skipping around with topics, guys, is that there are certain topics I want to go into longer detail with, you know? Okay, so Smitty says people who use the excuse of trolling to do and say dumb things. This is how I feel about Smitty. I think that there are some people who are pretending to be stupid. All right. Definitely some people pretending to be stupid. And I say that because I talk to them behind the scenes, or it's like I've been interacting with them long enough to get an idea of like their personality quirks and what's fake, what's real, that kind of thing, right? Of course, you never really know. We're all strangers on the internet, right? We could all be putting on a front. But I think there are people who pretend to be stupid. And then I think there are people who are like legitimately stupid. And then when they get called out for things, they're so embarrassed by the fact that they realize like what they said was fucking stupid. And they're like, oh, well, I was just trolling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree with that. There are definitely people who do that. And you can tell like there was nothing trollish about their comment, and then they were double down, upset, and trying to defend themselves. Yeah, it's just
I agree. I definitely agree. Like, let me tell you, when it comes to accountability, people do not like it. All right, and this isn't a question; it's a comment, so I'm gonna read it, okay? And then we'll get to the last. Oh my god, my back. So shout out to Amar saying, "Afternoon, Miss Luca. I don't have any topics at the moment to send your way, but I want to congratulate you and your team for the podcast." Oh my gosh. The podcast you had last week at the end where you answered a viewer about handling depression was amazing, honestly. Wasn't expecting a detailed response going into it, but it was dope to be surprised by it. I have a younger sister who has said she's trying to understand her purpose in life, God, why he allows things to be as it is, and why does it seem... Okay, wait, hold on. Why it seem that God lets people suffer or die for settling things, right? She has a lot and is one of many of our generation that has depression. As her brother, I've been trying to compile things for her to present to her soon. I saved your podcast as one of the tools I'll use because what you said for women will be useful for her. And what you said about men and acknowledging the stuff we go through and how no one new cares what we go through behind the scenes when we must be mighty all the times for our women and the kids. Thought that was really insightful and I appreciate you all for it. Anyway, I think with all the ways things are going in the world today will get worse before it gets better, sadly. I feel God is humbling the entire earth until we all change our wide path to become more narrow and straight, and the best way you do that is to do that is to break you down or to build you back up. But punishments and going through things to God seems like a trial of fire to him. But to us, it's like our world is ending. He sees the gold and silver in us, but must burn off the impurities found on us first, in order to be pure and gold and pure. Oh my goodness, pure gold and pure silver. Well, I remember enough. Lord willing, may the God of Israel watch over you, sis, and you, and your family. May you be safe, and may you continue to be the best God needs you to be, because you're a role model to others, whether you know it or not. So, folks, believe in you. Okay, push them to believe in themselves to fight another day. Don't let the devil tear you down. If you fall, learn from your mistakes and get back up at him with a strong right. Okay, hold as you are, be blessed,
Hook.
sis. Hook.
I think
Okay.
strong right hook. Yeah.
Strong right hook. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad that I was able to offer that kind of insight, and hopefully, hopefully things start to look up and your sister starts to get better. It's like an everyday struggle, though. It's definitely an everyday struggle. But thank you for that.
Makes you feel good when you see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and shout out to Ronald saying thoughts on Diddy breaking settlement records. Shout out to Christmas coming early for Cassie. Okay, well, so let's talk about this Diddy Cassie thing real quick before we go. So Cassie came out. She came out like 2 days ago with a civil suit. Okay, in which it was detailed some of the insane things that happened with Diddy when she was with him from like 2009
Like 2009, yeah.
to 2019, 2018, something like that. So for a lot of the things that were detailed in that, fucking egregious, insane, right? Some very vile, heinous things, right? Vile, heinous things, right? So, yeah, let me just go ahead and like these. A lot of, man, I don't even know what else to say. Vile, fucking heinous shit, dude. So I'm gonna keep it a stack. All right, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I read through that and I was just like, you know what? I definitely believe Diddy did this shit. He's been a fucking weirdo. He's been a menace. There's videos and clips and people have been talking about Diddy for fucking years. You know what I'm saying? With him being like just weird stuff that's come out about him, right? So I was like, I definitely fucking believe her just because of the things like Fabulous has said, things that fucking 50 has said, videos you've seen with Justin Bieber, the things Usher has said. I'm just like, no, I fucking believe her, dude. I believe her because Diddy, spooky shit, right? So if you guys want to like check out what happened in the just look it up. It's a lot, dude. It's definitely a lot. I'm definitely not reading some of the things that he was doing or having her do. Absolutely not. But a lot of it is trigger warning for abuse of all kinds, right? So okay, so people are talking about so I believe it was a civil case. And I was watching some lawyers on it. They said like the only outcome was the outcome was always going to be monetary. It wasn't going to be like
it's not a criminal suit.
It's not
It's
a
a
criminal
civil
suit,
suit.
right? It's a civil
Yeah.
suit. So it was always going to be monetary. So people being upset that like she got money, like she wasn't pressing like criminal charges against him, right? Secondly, someone made an excellent point where it's like if a hospital screws you over and fucks up, you can sue them, right? If oh man, they had some other good points. Like you can sue people for if they do wrong by you, right? Like you could, and no one has an issue if you like suing like a hospital if they like fuck you over, right? If they fuck you up real bad or you fuck up your family in some way, right? No one has an issue with that. But then people have an issue with her suing him. And it's not like he can't afford. I mean, he can afford a lot of shit apparently, but people had an issue with her suing him because like, well, don't you want justice? I'm like, listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I don't even think that amount of money could ever make up for what she like went through,
Right. But the whole when the comment was like Christmas came early for Cassie. I'm like, if these allegations are to be believed, there's no amount of money that can undo the things that happen to you. You're gonna have to like go through therapy and work through those things to get yourself to a point where you can go on with your life and be fine, but you're not going to forget what happened to you. Like that stuff, the money doesn't wipe that away. Whatever
like
millions of dollars that he gave her
plus
on top of what she was asking for.
someone also mentioned that initially he was offering her 30 million, which is that is a shit ton of money, right? Like just to not come out with it, right? Okay. But I think that she also did want to make sure that this information came out because also the statute of limitations on when she was able to file a civil suit in this case was about to expire this month, I believe. That's what I was hearing when I was looking into this and stuff. So that's why she did it now. And I think that she wanted to get that information out about him because it's like taking that money and like just burying what he did. I don't know, dude. And never being able to talk about it because if you take the money before you get that information out there, that comes with stipulations, right? Where you can never talk about this what you experience with me, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I think she wanted
it creates a situation where there'll be another Cassie.
Mhm.
There'll be another woman that is treated like she was treated. This at least allows the record to be out there to kind of warn other women that this could be you.
The dude's
Be
a fucking
careful.
predator, dude. Yeah.
He's a predator. And
Yeah.
also because she filed in federal court, that if there are prosecutors in the states where these things happen, it opens the door for them to potentially do go after him in a criminal suit. So there's that too. That's also probably another reason why he didn't want it to go further, and in record time settled the suit, gave her whatever price she wanted and then some.
I
Because
have never heard like ever of a suit getting settled that quickly. A public one?
If this would have went to court now, okay, she sued Diddy, Bad Boy, Def Jam, all these people, his assistants, his bodyguards, the people who worked at the hotels where stuff happened that she detailed in the lawsuit. All these people could potentially come forward and be witnesses. And then that opens him up to more information potentially coming out. Think about what happened to R. Kelly, right? So R. Kelly initially got charged after the documentary for falsifying a birth certificate in order for him to marry underage Aaliyah. And that came out due to one of his people admitting that they went and got a falsified birth certificate for her to make it happen in Chicago. But then after that, all the other stuff that came out, he's in jail not just for that, but he also has been charged in other states for other things. All that started off of the documentary and all off of that first lawsuit. So it's just like Diddy's looking at R. Kelly and like, yeah, that ain't gonna be me. Or at least he's trying not to be him, because this stuff could go further. But yeah, that's why he settled so quickly.
Yeah, some
and
of the
he had
things
the
I've
money.
been seeing that first of all, the suit detailed how he blew up Kid Cudi's car, and Kid Cudi's PR rep was like, yeah, we're confirming that he did that shit. All right,
he did.
He did that shit, man. And then there was also a video of him talking about how he and Usher would like wake up in bed together, and I'm just like, Usher was like 15 when he went to go live with Diddy, okay, and Diddy was a grown ass dusty man, right? There was this video in which P. Diddy is giving he's like, oh, he's talking to Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake's maybe like 14, 15, 16 around this time, right? And he's like, yeah, you can have this car. Oh, he's 15. He's like, you can have this car when you turn 16. Okay. And then when you're older, you can have this mansion. Now,
You mean Justin Bieber? You said Justin Timberlake.
not Justin Timberlake. My bad. Justin Bieber.
I was
right.
like, what? Justin
No,
Timberlake?
sorry. Justin Bieber, right? So he's offering this stuff to like Justin Bieber, and he's like, okay, so we're gonna spend 48 hours together, haha. And then undisclosed location, never found out what they did during those 48 hours, right? And then there was another video where it's a couple years later, or maybe a year later. I don't know. Justin, he still had that haircut, that Bieber haircut, right?
Yeah, I think he was still a minor at that point.
He was definitely still a minor. P. Diddy went up to him. He's like, hey, how come you don't call me anymore? How come we don't hang out? And Justin was like, just started freaking out, like on camera. It was really awkward and uncomfortable to watch. There was a clip where Cassie like was shaking this guy's hand, and the look that Diddy gave her, and then he tugs her close. Bro, I 100% believe he was doing that shit. Like 100%. Usher admitted that he was like 13, 14, 15 years old, seeing shit like sex parties, orgies, drugs, shit that he shouldn't have been seeing as a minor, you know? And then it goes back to this. Your parents fucking suck. Okay, Cassie's mom and dad suck. All right.
Big facts.
Usher's mom sucks. Aaliyah's parents fucking suck. How are you gonna sign your children over for a fucking check and a chance at fame? Are you joking? Like, come on. Like some people value money over the well-being and the mental well-being of their children. And I think is absolutely disgusting and egregious. And I don't think you have to be a parent to at least be like, no, I'm not letting my 15-year-old live with a grown-ass man in a different state. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? You're insane. You're insane. Their parents suck, dude. And like in the suit, it detailed how Cassie went to her mom's house and her mom took pictures of her fucking bloodied and bruised body for later keeping, right? And I'm just like, okay. And then Cassie went back to Diddy. And I understand like it was a lot of her leaving, going back because he was like chasing after her. And I get it. She was definitely scared of him. And I understand that because Diddy killed Tupac. All right. Probably killed Biggie too. All right. So he blew up Kid Cudi's car. Like, come on, this dude is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? If I disappear after this, I don't fucking know, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, about the parents thing, I agree. Their parents suck. And I think that is something that some of these people in power in the entertainment industry know, and they know how to manipulate parents who are more than willing to sacrifice their children for money, fame, whatever, in order to get what they want. Me personally, like when I read that entire, thing from her lawyer, like I just kept thinking about if this was my daughter. I don't care that he's got security. I'm finding a way to get a loan with him so that I could spirit him away somehow to an undisclosed location to deal with him personally. Like freaking dissect this dude while he's still awake, kind of deal with him personally. I'm going full law-abiding citizen on this dude because it's just there's no way that I'm gonna let that happen to any of my children, and there's no, I'll end it because if she's not willing to make sure it ends, I'll do it. I'm not messing around with it. I'm just like I look at my daughter now who's only 7. She should be 8 in a couple of months, and it's just
Shout out
like
to the baby.
I get just like deep sigh frustrated with thinking about how women are treated and how, especially if just her being talented and or being extremely beautiful like Cassie is, that people would try to exploit that and then try to like be real, like just basically a freak show that wants to control and like dirty people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you take someone who is innocent and make them not that. And I think there are people out there who get a kick out of that, who are just garbage individuals that could just not breathe the same air as the rest of us. And yeah, I'm sorry. Like if Cassie's father is still in the picture, he needs to look himself in the mirror and be ashamed of himself, because you let that happen to your daughter for a decade. I would have figured it out. All right. I'm saying
So my kid ain't just gonna be just somewhere chilling all the time.
All that security,
Daughter either. Again, you're Usher and Justin Bieber. Where were their parents?
Exactly.
They were young boys. Like, no, I'm gonna say this as well. There's just like a lack of protection for children in general, but especially for like young boys, and that's why a lot of assaults don't they don't come forward with it because there's other men saying, well, you're a man, you should be
Yep.
happy this happened. Or there's women being like, well, you're a man, why didn't you stop it? You should have been strong enough to stop it. That kind of thing. Like, no one takes that shit seriously, dude. Like, what the fuck were you like, what were their parents thinking? Like, I'm not letting my kid go live with a fucking grown ass man. I
No,
don't care who the
absolutely
fuck
not.
it is, dude. Like,
I
I
don't care
understand
how
things were
talented
different
you
back
are.
then, but shit,
yeah,
no, dude.
you can become a star living at home under my roof the way you're supposed to be. You're still my child. Anyone that look in all those situations, freaking Aaliyah was living in Chicago with R. Kelly, and we saw how that turned out. Anytime we see these situations where a adult producer is now becoming the guardian of a minor who is talent, it's always been, whether it's that producer who's doing the abuse or the people around them, it's always been abuse. We've seen it with actors, we've seen it with musicians, we've seen it all across the board. You cannot not allow your child to be put in that position. You are the parent. If your child, it doesn't matter what your child's saying. You're ruining my chance. I don't give a flying fuck if I'm ruining your chance. You're not going to do this.
The money's not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you've already unfortunately had your child in that position, look, man, you can handle it. I'm just saying that his security, on the day I'm come after him, they better call in sick. Because if
10
you in the
years
way,
is like egregious though. And and like there are people like, why did she stay? I'm telling you guys, there's something psychological about it. Because if there wasn't, there wouldn't be so many cases of abuse. Women and men would just leave. They would just leave. It's not that simple. There's something that changes in your brain chemistry when you get abused. And that's like, that shit's deep, dude. So if you can't comprehend it, just be grateful you can't comprehend it, because that means you've never been through it. You know what I'm saying?
right?
So, all right. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Man, someone on Twitter was like, yeah, Cassie needs to hire like some bodyguard and some security and just be careful.
Absolutely.
Because I think people said he killed his like baby mama too, Kim Porter, because she was going to come out with a book.
Well, she did come out with a book, I think, and I think like a week after her book came out, she ended up surprisingly dead from pneumonia. There are some people who believe that there was some foul play involved with that, and she had some things to say about Diddy as well. Clearly, yeah, Cassie needs to be like, you got multi-millions now. You better be having a full-on security detail from now on.
For sure, 100%. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
she said
the thing.
She said
real quick.
freaking Diddy jumped out of bed and started like, he thought that what's his name from Death Row? Damn, I can't remember his name right now. He was in town, someone knew his location, jumped out of bed, threw his clothes on, grabbed the gun, and went running out the house. The dude, like, this man's not
Suge Knight?
Suge Knight, yes. Like, this man's not in
He's not
his
well
right
in the
mind.
head, clearly.
No,
Yeah, and
no.
the thing of it is, that's the thing when it comes to like grooming, Ronald. The prime ages for someone to get groomed, it's like 20. It's 22 and under, I would say. 22 and under. Yeah, 22 and under. I'll say 21 and under. 21 and under, those are prime grooming ages, especially between like 18 and 21, because it's like you just turned 18, you just turned 19. There was like this comment going around on social media in which, most girls, when they turn 19, have the worst relationship of their lives that kind of ruins their life for a little bit. And it's usually with like an older person, you know what I'm saying? And that's because like you're legally an adult now. Legally, the dude's not doing anything wrong, but like mentally and emotionally, when it comes to maturity levels, you just changed so much between the ages of 18 and 30. Who I am at 30 is not who I was at 18 at all. So I think younger people
I think
are
that's all of us, honestly.
Yeah. Younger people are more susceptible to being manipulated because they're not as educated. They're sheltered, obviously, as they should be, because they grew up with their parents, right? And most case, in ideal cases, I'll say that. In ideal cases, they're sheltered. They're not aware of like how the world works. And if you get them young enough, and like there's even been like there was this podcast where this guy admitted, he's like, yeah, it's like I like them younger. So you can guide them properly, like rear them properly, raise them up properly to be the perfect person or whatever. And I've been saying this for years. If you are someone like under the age of, again, it's legal in the States, right? But if you're under the age of like 21 and someone who's at like 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus is pursuing you, the question should be, why can't they find someone their own age? Like, what is it about them that puts women their own age or men their own age off, you know? Because
Yeah.
it's not, and again, I say
They
women
ain't
and men.
falling for it.
Brittany Renner is a fucking predator as well. All
Yep.
right? Admitted predator. So it's women and men. You see it more with men though. But and with the and it's not just straight people, it's gay people as well, you know? That shit is just, it's super insidious. It's super spooky. Even me, like being friends with people who are younger, I talk to them and I'm just like, oh shit. Wow, you could be easily manipulated, huh? Like it's bad, dude. It's, you get someone in there who doesn't have the right intentions. Listen, for all my parents out there who still have kids who are like under 20, be as involved in your kid's life as you can, and just be fucking mindful, dude. Just be fucking mindful. You know, don't let be mindful of the people around them. Shit can happen. It can happen to your family members too. Just, you know, pay attention when your kids are talking to you. If your kids are saying something where it's like, and I say kids, like again, 21 under, 20 under, legally an adult. I understand that, but if you know, you guys know what I'm saying. You can't legally
Yeah,
drink.
yeah.
You're a kid to me, you know?
Being a legal adult doesn't have anything to do with your own maturity.
Yeah, he was having her drink knowing she was underage, so she really had no chance being around that. Yep, and all the drug use as well. Then also with Usher, Usher was also a young teenager drinking and being around all that depravity. So yeah, it's just bad, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just saw something spooky. Like I'm just saying, man, we just don't protect our children, dude. Like people see a fucking payday. And someone on Twitter just said 15 and 16-year-olds are doing lingerie shoots for their birthday now. I'm like, yeah, no. That's
They're doing what?
lingerie shoots for their birthday.
That's
And
disgusting,
clearly
yo.
posting that shit online, you know?
That's isn't that illegal at 16 to do stuff? It's
Well,
not like
if they're
child
not
pornography or
fully if
something.
they're not fully naked or in compromising positions, then no.
Then what kind of is it? A lingerie shoot where you're standing in front of the like when you just standing there like you're not moving, you're not posing or anything like that. That doesn't sound
I know.
legal to
I
me.
agree. It doesn't, but it is legal, unfortunately. Shastani says it's weird. A lot of my employees are early 20s and a strange balance and responsibility working with managing people nearly half your age. Just a different mentality. You got to also understand different generations believe and experience things differently. You know, they think of things differently based on how they were raised. So, yeah. So yeah. Okay, but I did want to end it on a positive note. Shout out to Light Strife. He left me this comment, and it's just. He said, "Shout out to you and your podcast. Always love listening to the advice and motivation y'all give the listeners. A couple months back, y'all were talking about self-care and health, and it pushed me to give up drinking pop completely and my daily large blast from Dunkin'. I've been drinking nothing but water ever since and even purchased a treadmill recently. I'm down 50 pounds, and my jeans that didn't fit me anymore are actually fitting me.
Yo,
Sorry for the
that's what's
tangent. I've
up.
been meaning to thank y'all for everything that y'all do. Keep up the good work. I love hearing stuff. It means so much to me knowing that we're actually helping, even if it's just like a few people, you know? It means so fucking much to me because like I'm really passionate about these topics, you know what I'm saying? And I hung out with my dad today and he showed me a picture of how I looked when I was 19 and I was like, "Holy fuck, dude. I lost a lot of fucking weight." Matter of fact, boys, I'm gonna send it to you too, but it's actually kind of insane. Like wow, you know, wow, like jump scare. So yeah. But once I'm done with my weight loss journey though, I'm gonna show everybody in the chat. But I gotta finish my journey first, okay? Anyway, but like yeah, love you guys so much. Okay. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Let me get my channel members and then fucking skedaddle. I'm gonna listen. My back hurts. So, you know. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Shout out to. All right, so shout out to Imar bin Israel, Damien, Stardust, Outlaw, Mr. Dolo, DQ, Tevin, Jabari, Ronald, Phil, Dealer, MJ, Mike, Iman, Dirk, King Metrotron, Meat Puppet, Scroat, John the Don, Smoke, Slurge Renza, Risk It, Stone, Starbuck, Kenny, DC, Big Daddy, Smitty, El Whito, Sub Negro, Jazzy, Dominic, Sir Ducks, Sycamore, Sycamore, Zion now. Zion, Brisky, Corey, Lightstrife, Pepitio, Nautical, Jet, Envy, Slowmo, and Hannibal. Appreciate you guys for supporting me in this way. Shout out to all the super chat support. Shout out to everybody who came to hang out. Shout out to everyone who listens later. Thank you to Singer for hanging out. Surprisingly, not a bot. He was like not on his bot shit today. Shockingly.
Yeah, he was not down for that Xbox tax, guys.
Just was not down for it. So shout out to Singer. But shout out to Slow for coming through.
Thank you.
All right. And yeah, it was pretty bad, Leaky. Yeah. And then shout out to Nautical for coming through.
You're muted, Bo.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Yeah, shout out to you, man. Thank you guys so much again. Great show. Had a good time with it. 3-hour show. My back is fucking me up real bad. So we're gonna go now. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace out.